Hello, everybody, and welcome back to yet another episode of She Is Speed. My name is Lana Ruse, and I get to be your host for this incredible evening that we have planned. If you're not familiar with the show, She Is Speed is a show here on Hotfix where we show off women in speedrunning who run games with female protagonists. And we have a stacked lineup for you tonight. But before we get into that, let's go over a couple announcements. So as you might have heard, AGDQ 2023 is online this year, and it will be January 8th to the 15th. Host judging volunteer applications are now open. Game submissions and event volunteer applications are also open now. Game submissions are open until September 21st, and volunteer submissions are open until September 24th. Use !AGDQ in Twitch chat or head to gamesdonequick.com for more info. Also a reminder, if you're watching us on YouTube, make sure to go to twitch.tv/gamesdonequick if you're interested in looking at our live content. It starts weeknights at 7 p.m. Eastern and weekends at 1 p.m. Eastern. So, like I had mentioned, we have an incredible lineup for you today. We have some Resident Evil 2 later followed by some Bayonetta 2. So make sure you stick around for the whole show. It is sure to be amazing. So our first run of the evening is Resident Evil 2 Claire A standard run. And this is from the remake that came out a couple years ago. So we have Kitty Roar running. I'll let her introduce herself. Take it away.
Hi, my name is Kitty Roar. I go online by Lily, which is my real name, and what is G-Monday going to be referring me to. I've been a streamer and speedrunner for 9 years now. And like Lana said, we're going to be running some RE2 today. So G-Monday is going to be my commentator. So if you would like to introduce yourself.
Hi, everybody. My name is G-Monday. I go by Gary. Hope everybody's having a good night. I've been streaming for about 18 months or so a lot less time. And I speedrun a lot of the classic Resident Evil games and do some other fun stuff as well.
Yeah. So we're going to be running Claire. There's a lot of cool, interesting mechanics to go over. And it can be a pretty spooky run. You'll find out soon why. But I'm going to go ahead and start the run. Claire standard. Here we go. I'll be counting down after I skip the second cutscene. I'll count down 3, 2, 1, go. All right. So in 3, 2, 1, go. All right. So we're going to be playing today with protagonist Claire Redfield. She is younger sister to Chris Redfield, which he appears in a lot of the Resident Evil games, if you're familiar with that. And he was also in the previous entry in Resident Evil 1. So in Resident Evil 2, we're playing as Claire Redfield. Obviously, I said that. And she's trying to find her brother Chris, because he's been MIA. But Claire is going to have a big surprise because she doesn't know that there's going to be a viral outbreak here in Raccoon City. And we also have protagonist Leon Kennedy. He is a rookie police officer. And it's his first day today, so F's for Leon. Poor guy. There's a few differences between the Leon and Claire runs. One of them I get a lot of questions for. It is, why do I get bit here? And that's a fair question. Why are you getting bit? So as you can see, we're in caution. And Claire actually runs faster in caution in her run. Leon does not. It's only Claire. So that makes it
Claire run a little bit more unique.
Yeah, it makes it more unique and a little bit more spicy. There's so many instances where you can instantly get into danger. And if you didn't know, and if you're new to the series as well, there's 3 different health states. There's fine, which, you're pretty much not touched at all. Caution, maybe a few bites, and danger. You're going to want to find a healing item ASAP because you're pretty much close to dead. So you don't want to be in fine and you don't want to be in danger.
Focus.
No bueno.
Somebody just said this is biting commentary, and I had to hold a laugh back. That was very funny.
Biting. Oh my God. Who said that? Who did it? So we're approaching Elliot here. He's one of the police officers in the RPD. And he's dead. So
Rest in
goodbye.
peace.
Rest in peace. So Gary, you want to explain this little mechanic here?
Yes. So the
Okay, we're good.
the zombie that's breaking through that door there, he operates off of real time, so we can actually pause at that door, and then he'll actually make his way through, banging through that door, even though we're in the pause menu. So we can manipulate him coming through a little bit faster. It was a little spicy getting out of there, but we're in good shape. We're fine. Everything's fine.
We are fine. We see our friend Marvin. Goodbye, Marvin. Thank you for the knife. We're really gonna need this knife. If you haven't seen RE2 runs before, you're in for a treat with, if anybody could guess what the most powerful weapon is in this game, then
Is it the shotgun?
I mean, the shotgun can be pretty good for headshots, so. So if you saw there in the beginning, we got a pamphlet from Elliot, and it's basically telling us our objective here for RPD 1. So I'll be referring the different sections to RPD 1, RPD 2, sewers, and labs. So right now we're in RPD 1, and the objective is to get 3 medallions so that we can escape this area for now. And right now you can see me doing some stair skating is what we call it. Okay, there we go.
Nice.
And it's basically just tapping down on the aim button in a rhythmic motion, or in rhythmic taps rather. And you can't do it too fast and you can't do it too slow. You kind of have to find the right rhythm to go up and down the stairs. It just makes it faster, and you kind of skip the animation where she's just like going up the stairs.
Yeah. Yeah, the aiming motion has her stagger forward, which helps skip through the animation as she's running up the stairs. And that makes that and down the stairs. It makes it go faster as you're going through.
Oh yeah, way faster. And here's the first medallion. So these medallion section. Oh, my bad. Skipped it. So the solution is always the same to those medallion statues, but the turning is always different. Like each dial is always randomized. And this game can have pretty big RNG with most things, with zombie placements, or enemy placements, and puzzles too, which you'll see later on as well. All right, Gary, the zombie better not be here.
I promised.
He said he wouldn't. I swear. So there can be a random zombie here, and that's just bad news. In practice, he came up a lot, so we were hoping to just get out the way and not be here. Let's see if he's here. He's not here! Let's go! Yeah, that zombie can be pretty bad because you just kind of bolt through the door. And if he's there, you can potentially run into him and he can mess you up.
Plus, it's spooky.
Oh, clear! Run into the wall. It is spooky because he's just like, bleh, right in front of the door. All right, so we're heading into a spooky section. Oh, I do have the original music in from Resident Evil 2 98, so you're going to hear a lot of that, which I think is better. I love Resident Evil 2 98. It's one of my favorite RE games,
Same.
personally. Yeah.
They did a great job with the remake soundtrack, but the OG soundtrack is just fantastic.
Yeah, you can't beat the OG. I'm sorry. That's just me anyway. But I do like the remake soundtrack as well. Oh hi, I'm just gonna take the bite. That's okay. We're gonna be picking up extra herbs throughout the run. Unfortunately, he was just right in the way when I quick turned, which I didn't touch on. So we also do quick turning in this run. So please discard. Thank you. Quick turning, you're just going to the corner in a 90 degree angle. So basically you, how do I explain it?
Yeah, so basically it's kind of
Okay.
similar with the stair skating, how the aim feature kind of staggers forward. If you stop your momentum and then go into a different direction, so like say you're trying to quick turn right, if you let go of your W key while you're running forward, aim quickly and then hit D to run to the right, it'll quickly turn the characters directly to the right instead of having to do a big long arch like a normal turn would be. So that's how the quick turn just makes things a little bit faster as you're going around corners.
Yeah, movement is super important in this game. Hey!
Oh, no.
Wait a minute. Hey, don't do this. I kissed my liquor mask earlier for good luck. How dare you betray me? Okay, it's fine. We can get a spare herb. Actually, oh man, this is actually pretty bad. Because we don't get the herb till we're coming down after the third medallion, so this is kind of bad.
Looks like
But
zombies
it's okay.
are being okay though, yeah.
Yeah, the zombies are being pretty good. The only thing is there's a liquor coming up, another one. So, but that's okay. We'll be fine.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, so I'm going to be doing a little trick thingy glitch here where you kind of open the door and then you go back, and the explosion as you have the door open, it'll keep the bookshelf from falling over. Cause
Yeah, if that bookcase falls over, it gets in your way and you have to pull it out of the way before you can get back out that door, and that's obviously not great with the liquor in the room.
yeah, that is absolutely not good. And he's chasing me and he's jumping and I'm scared and I'm leaving. Okay, goodbye.
Everything's fine.
Hold on, I'm gonna.
Yep.
Wait, no, I'm scared. Wait. Okay. It worked. We did it. Yeehaw.
Yeehaw!
We did. Okay, so since we're in danger, we definitely don't want to go into the next boss. Well, not next boss, but first boss. Spoilers. In danger. So I'm gonna go ahead and pick up the safety herb that's waiting for us right here. Hello, safety herb. No, because you do not want to go into the boss in danger. So, yeah, we have all the medallions. This is the secret path that Elliot was telling us about in the little pamphlet. And we're heading into our first boss. We refer to the bosses as G. So you'll hear G1, G2, G3, G4. But it is William Birkin, which is the creator of the G virus. So we're going to be fighting him. And you're not going to believe what weapon we're going to use. If you know, you know. If you don't, well, about to find out.
Hello? Hello?
Yeah, no danger in this run. You want to keep it in caution because danger is very, very slow. All right, so spoilers, we're using the knife. Oh, and also I had to change the graphic. Oh, it's already at 50. Okay, good. That's great.
So yeah, we use the knife in these runs because it's tied. The damage that the knife does is actually tied to the frames per second. So that's why you'll see in RE2 Remake how they have different categories for the different frames per second, and that's because that directly ties into how much damage the knife can do, and it caps at 120 just to be a little bit more accessible for folks, so that people can get to that 120 frames per second with relatively inexpensive rigs, which makes it a lot easier for folks on PC to be able to participate in the run.
Oh, yeah, because it would be pay to win pretty much at that point. If someone has like a $5,000 computer and they have like 800 FPS, they'll just kill them in one slice, I think. I don't know. That'd be kind of insane.
It'd be a fun experiment, huh?
Yeah, no, that would be. Actually, I kind of want to test that now. But yeah, so there's different categories. There's 30, 60, and 120. I currently run at 120 because it's the fastest, and the knife is just too damn good in 120. So. So if you didn't see already, we have Miss Sherry, and we're gonna also say goodbye to Miss Sherry. Vi. She got kidnapped by Chief Irons. We'll talk about that a little later. But we're gonna run into our very good friends here, the Lickers. If you guys aren't familiar with the Lickers, they're blind and extremely powerful enemies. Oh my god. So yeah, they're blind and they have excellent hearing. So one way that you can avoid them in a casual run is just walking. Excuse me. But no, we're gonna run past them. Cause yeah. And that could be pretty risky because they are just all over the place. They have so many different moves that they can do. They can do the lick, they can do the leap, they can do the everything. It's
just mean.
And they're mean and they're spooky and I don't like them and we're out of here. Holy.
Nice.
No, wait a minute. No, I'm just gonna use my item. Hey, we have the knife here just in case. I messed up this really cool trick here. So basically what you had to do here, you pretty much put your back towards the liquor and then you aim down and that'll trigger him to do like a move from the ceiling or he'll come and attack you. But I messed it up because I got too nervous, so.
Okay, we're good.
It's okay, we good. We got the extra knife. We're about to get another herb. Be fine, be fine.
Everything's great.
We're about to get our next key item too. No, actually we're heading into RPD 2. So RPD 2 will pretty much be collecting 2 electrical parts. That is the objective for this part. And we're gonna also run into a very special friend that we have. But you'll see him soon. Very, very soon.
Dressed to the nines.
Best dressed in RE. Alright. Gonna use the heart key. Oops.
Yes, our objective is to get the parking garage key here, and it's behind a locked door that requires the 2 electronic parts, which is why we're trying to hunt those electronic parts down.
Yeah, and it'll take us to the next section, which is going to be actually playing as Sherry. Excuse me. Oop. And there's our first one. Oh god, okay. Usually that zombie can be the same as, like he can totally barge through that door if he wanted to. But luckily he didn't, so thank you, zombie.
That's part of the reason why
kind.
we hit that headshot there, is to try to push him back a little bit so he can't get through that door.
Yeah, you want to get out of there as fast as possible because he'll just barge in and then just mess everything up. So.
We can't go slow?
No speed walking. We speed run. Let's go. All right, so pretty much here we're just turning on the water pump to put out the fire here for this fire. And here's our good friend. Would you guys like to say hello to Mr. Trenchy? Oh, sorry. Trenchy Jesus X. Hi, bye. Thank you. Okay, so if you're wondering why the heck I call him that, one, when I was a kid, I used to call him Trenchy because he had a trench coat, and I was a kid and I didn't know what the heck his actual name was, so I was like, oh, Trenchy. And then in this game, Claire also calls him Jesus, so
Trenchy Jesus X.
yeah, that is the perfect name, honestly. Oh, here we go. But yeah, so he's pretty much just a stalker tyrant in this game. He's not really a nuisance at all. You know, you just kind of walk past him. He can be, though, in this section coming up. But we have to get there as fast as possible so that way we don't run into him. I'm not sure if we're going to make it, but we're going to try. So let's see. Yay! He took his time!
Yeah.
Thank you! Thank you, Mr. X. Thank you, Trenchy. Thank you, Jesus.
You can see Lily do a shot here, and this is to manipulate the zombie inside this next room, just to try to get the zombie out of the way. It looks like the zombies are being really nice in here today.
Yeah, they really are. That is shocking because actually a lot of runs die in this library because the zombies can be like I don't know, they're random, so they can be placed in different parts. Like usually there's a zombie sitting.
Uh-oh. We spoke too soon.
Wait, we spoke
it's my fault.
little too soon. Wait. Okay. No, we're good. It's fine. There's another herb coming up. Yeah, it's fine. Oh, you know, I do have the spare herb. You're right. And there's another herb coming up too that we're gonna pick up for safety. We need all the insurance. We need all the herbs. So he didn't chase us through the door. Usually we do a thing where we try to bait the zombie to come through this door. Because that way when you come back out, he'll be gone. But unfortunately that didn't happen. But that's okay. We'll just have to dodge him as we come out. And I believe that happens because no enemies are allowed in this room. Mm-hmm. So if you bait him in, yeah, he just kind of disappears.
He goes on a magical journey.
Goodbye, zombie. All right, and we're approaching our second electrical part here, and then we're cruising. We're going.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because we have to save the girl that we just met.
Yeah. We have to save little Sherry.
Claire's so noble.
And he's here, but I'm going to grab this and also just run past him. Thank you very much.
Easy.
I'm going to shoot this guy just because I'm scared of him. Goodbye. Yeah, safety too. And we're gonna approach another puzzle, but this one isn't RNG, thankfully. And we got the dodge there, which is pretty good. Yeah. Oh, I hear Mr. X. Hey, you can get me. Bye-bye. Oh god, I got stuck. Alright, so we are approaching the end of RPD2. Well, kind of. We're gonna be playing as special Sherry after this puzzle.
Yeah, in this puzzle, you only have to switch, I think it's 5 switches, and all of them are switched once, except for the blue one, which you switch 3 times, and it immediately finishes it. Super simple.
Super easy, yeah.
You see all the lines, you're like, oh no. And it's just, it's not too bad.
Yeah, it's not bad at all. Like, it can look intimidating, but I mean, I'm saying that my first playthrough, I took like 30 minutes on that puzzle. Let's not talk about that, though.
We all did. It's fine.
Yeah. All right. Also, you want to explain this puzzle too?
Yeah. So this puzzle also looks very complicated, and it also is not. So you take the first block, you move it into the third slot, and then you just match all the symbols up. And that was the worst RNG we could have gotten.
That was actually the worst. It was on all change. What in the... Wow.
That is fantastic. Oh, my God.
Thank you, RE2.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah,
but anyway.
that can be random. Like the solution will always be the same, but again, sometimes it will have it done for you. But that was the actual worst. Every single one was a change. You can get lucky and just place the block and it'll be done. But that is super, super rare. I think I've had that happen once. But that's pretty much it. So we're playing as Sherry here. And she's daughter of William and Annette Birkin. They're the evil folks in this game. But yeah, so we got kidnapped by Chief Irons, and we're gonna try to get the heck out of here. Also, you see there, I did a little Sherry shimmy. I got that from Spectralite. Shout outs to her. I just love that, the Sherry shimmy. So good. That just pretty much makes her go a little faster up and down the stairs because Sherry runs really slow. Like I think, Gary, you said she runs like Claire in Danger.
Yeah, it's a really slow move speed compared to Claire in Caution. You're used to like speeding through the RPD with Claire, and Sherry's just like, she does have shorter legs.
Yeah, she does, for sure.
But watch, she'll open the door with her head.
What the heck? What am I doing there? Oh my god.
Headbutt.
She fires, please. Yeah, headbutt. Yeah, Sherry Sherry is very interesting when she opens doors. She's just like, she just goes head first and uses both hands. I'm gonna do a little Sherry dance here. Show us your dance emotes, chat. Sherry dance. So in this section, you just hide from Chief Irons. There's not much to it. It's pretty chill, kind of.
It's all over now. Doors locked.
And Chief Irons is a douchebag. He's
not very nice.
Yeah, he's not very nice. He's into taxidermy, and usually that's just for animals. He's a very interesting human being.
Yeah.
He also likes doing it to humans. It's just like, okay, you need to stop.
He was
Please don't.
working with Umbrella in the background while also running the police department. So it was he's kind of a not a good friend, not a good friend to the city.
Yeah.
And when the virus broke out, he kind of snapped. So things got a little worse as the virus infected Raccoon City.
Yeah. I think he just got a little bit money hungry. He knew Cherry's pendant was the key to the antiviral agent, so he's pretty much using Sherry as leverage, or he kidnapped her to try to get that pendant. But earlier we skipped the cutscene, but she drops the pendant. Claire has it, so he's kind of holding her hostage, waiting for Claire. But that's not gonna happen. Oh, also, so to explain this part. Why we're standing here on this half circle. This whole part right here is programmed as a wall, so he can't see me at all. He's just like, hey, where are you? And we're just right in front of him.
Yeah, so you remember when you used to have the big blocks and you used to play in like a fort? That's the fort. You're invisible.
Yeah.
He can't see you.
Yeah, we're invisible. We're too cool. And the reason also why we're standing so close, usually you hide in like a little cubby. Like right here, you hide right there. You just want to be closer to the key to steal it, to yoink it. Yeah, hide in plain sight. Except he can't see because,
I'm in a fort.
Yep. There you go. So the reason why we're not taking the front door is because, well, if you play the game casually, you'll find out that it's locked up. They won't let her out.
Locked.
And here's Chief Irons.
Here's Chiefy.
Here's Chiefy. Goodbye. And we're done with the Sherry section. There you go. And this is pretty much, Chief Irons like, bring me the pendant or something's gonna happen to Sherry. Oh my God, there's a thunderstorm happening. I don't know if you guys heard that. You did? Yeah. Oh my God. Let's hope.
Everything's gonna be
please,
fine.
Thunder gods, please keep the power on. Thank you. Okay, so that's not very good. I'm gonna pick up this spare herb here. Oh, I already had one, but that's okay. The more, the better, honestly, because we're going to be heading into the sewers, which is...
Can be challenging.
Not my favorite. I mean, it's not as bad as the labs, but...
All my homies hate the sewers.
Oh, my homies hate the sewers, exactly. Whether you're a viewer, whether you're a runner, I'm sure you hate the sewers. I'm sure. Alright, so we're going to bait Mr. X here. To do a punch, just to give us enough time to get through the gate, because if not, he'll be right on our booty cheeks. And we don't want that, so...
And his recovery animation's pretty long.
Yeah, he'll do a whole lunge swing, and he'll just stand there for like a second or two and just stare at you. So that gives us enough time. And goodbye. Alright, I'm gonna shoot this zombie here to stagger him. And we're going to be approaching the next new enemy. Well, an enemy that we haven't seen yet in the run, which is going to be the doggos. They can typically be free. They're not that mean, but I'll tell a little story as to why they can be mean once we get to them. So we're going to see our good friend Misty here. Hi, Misty. Goodbye. She was named by the community back in RE298. Yeah,
not to be confused with Misty from Pokemon.
Exactly, yes.
She's fine. She's not a zombie. We're good.
This is R2, Misty. Well, I said you were nice.
Oh no.
I said you were nice. You know, I need to stop complimenting these RE enemies. I really do. When I said G3 was nice, he turned
ate
his
us
back on me.
alive.
Yeah. Okay, that dog was nice, at least. Jesus. Oh my. Okay, so story here is, you just shoot this guy, you stagger him. That dog came out really
Almost
fast.
did it.
But that dog that you saw there has wombo comboed me.
Hang on, Sherry.
He has. So the dog pretty much pushed me back into the bus, staggered me into the zombie, and then I got bit and I died. So, I mean, the dogs can be free, but they can still be pretty rough. And she fires again. Rough.
like a dog.
No. Oh god.
Oh no.
Oh no. Roof. Okay. Doggo emotes in chat, anyone?
So on our way to the sewer.
Oh, and here's Sherry. Hi. And we're gonna see Mr. Trenchy again for the last time. Goodbye.
Everybody wave bye to Mr. Trenchy. Bye, Mr.
Bye.
Trenchy.
Bye. We can't see him because we're too fast. We're zooming. All right, we should get the audio glitch here.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Yeah, if you do this part really fast, you get a really funny little audio glitch. It'll just overlap her current voice lines with her
Sherry, can you hear me? Don't stop.
past ones. Sherry, can you hear? Don't stop. like what the heck? Okay, sure. Bye, Trenchy. See ya. So, I don't know if I touched on the differences with Leon and Claire besides the health state, but Leon has a different final boss than Claire, and Trenchy is the final one for Leon. So we're gonna be. Sorry, spoilers. I mean, what? We're gonna be stuck with Mr. G. So. Yeah, and we also have different weapons as well from Leon. All right, dodge him, and we got the dodge.
Yeah, so Leon gets a shotgun and a magnum, and Claire gets a machine gun and a grenade launcher. That's the difference between the two. Oh, and they also have the flamethrower and spark shot too, yeah.
And the spark shot, yeah.
Yep.
No, in my opinion, I think Claire definitely gets the better weapons. I mean, I do like
Agreed.
the shotgun, but
Sorry, Leon fans.
yeah, sorry. I mean, I do love Leon, but Claire's just.
Your guns are boring.
Damn. I mean, speaking facts, honestly.
So the sewer section here, we're trying to get the, there's a chess piece puzzle. So we're trying to collect the 3 chess pieces that we need to finish the puzzle. So we're going to be going through and using that T-crank that Lily just picked up to try to unlock the woo sections that we're unlock the next couple sections.
Yeah, that zombie can be really mean. He's just waiting around the corner. He's just like, what you gonna do? Are you gonna fall? Are you gonna fall? No? Okay, bye.
Okay, great.
Usually they fall and they're like, wee! But no, they just wanted to not get wet today. Fair enough.
We're not going to worry about
blame
the thing that just crawled out of that pipe. It's fine.
Oh yeah, no, don't worry about them, nah. It's fine. No, those are called geodolls. We'll see them shortly. There can be RNG here where it shows up, but we're gonna pray that he doesn't show up.
Yeah.
Because if not, he can stagger us and grab us, and yeah, let's just not think about it. All right, we're gonna get our first chess piece here. And get through this zombie. I'm not gonna pick up the extra ammo here because I already have quite a bit. Usually I pick up that if I use too much or if I miss some shots, but should be fine. And we got the good RNG.
Yeah.
The Geodoll is not present. Thank you. Thank you. Hello, sir. I'm just gonna bait him and do that.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna take a chance because if I try to walk around him, he's just gonna do a quick turn and no, you just can't trust him. can't trust a zombie.
So we're coming up to the G adults here.
Yeah.
These enemies can be awful in a casual run. When you learn the speed run route, they're not quite as bad, but they can be a run ender for sure. This is I believe this is the only enemy that inflicts poison in the game. And unlike the other Resident Evil games where poison was pretty curable and it made you lose health, which was bad, you still moved in a caution state. This one, every once in a while, you'll cough, and that really slows things down, which is not good for the run. But you'll see here what Lily does to manipulate past them. That's it.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. So you just shoot him, he pops out the water, and you're pretty much free to go. And you just kind of walk or run past all these G adults. So yeah, like Gary said, they can be awful. Not only do you cough, but as she coughs, she walks. So it's not like you're running and coughing. No, she just starts walking.
And if you remember, this is a speed run.
Yes, it is. And that is not good for that section because there's about 3 or 4 G adults waiting for you. So if you start walking, they'll just all gather around and mess you up. And that can waste a lot of time.
Absolutely.
All right, we didn't get the good RNG here with the zombie.
Sure.
Usually he's either chilling on the floor or, whatever, but he's just waiting for us here. Oh, and he grabbed me.
It's okay, you got a lot of herbs.
Oh, yeah, we have there's quite a bit of herbs here, so we are fine. Good to go. All right, use Queen. So you just do a little puzzle here to get out. Nothing too crazy, just to get all the chess pieces. Is that what you're gonna explain?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this will be the easiest chess game you all ever play.
Oh yeah, easy peasy. There you go. So we secured all the pieces, and we just got to go back to the puzzle, and then my arch enemy is gonna appear, and we're gonna have to fight him. You guys will see. Oh, he's in the way here. We're just gonna shoot him for safety, because, yeah, like I said, if he grabs you, you don't have to use a sub item, but it's either use the sub item or you get poisoned, and we just don't want to use both. Or we don't, no.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
As you can see, the spark shot paralyzes it for a couple of seconds, which is more than enough time to get past it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we'll be using the spark shot a lot this run. For certain enemies that are coming up in the lab, and also for an upcoming fight. Other boss fights. Oh, they're all chilling over there. Okay. So those zombies can be RNG too. They can be in front of the stairs. They can be in so many different spots. So it's kind of hard to tell where they are.
Yeah, a lot of being able to react to the zombies is one of the skills you definitely have to pick up in this game. Like having good reaction speed where the zombies are located helps a lot.
Yeah. All right, so we're doing this super easy puzzle. Usually you have to read on the bulletin board. They give you a little sort of riddle you do to do this puzzle, but we did it easy peasy because we remembered.
Because we smart.
We're smart.
And now G2.
All right, Sherry.
So the G2 fight.
I hate him.
Phase 1 of the G2 fight, the second that he puts his claw through the door coming up here, his character model exists right in the middle of the room. So you're going to see Lily throw a grenade in the middle of the room, which will cause him to take damage and start phase 2 pretty quickly here.
Make sure we have our knife out. I'm also going to lower the image quality. Again, if you missed that earlier, it's just to kind of keep it at a steady 120 FPS, so that way we can do maximum damage with our knife, because we're doing knife only with this boss. So
yeah, and remember that the knife damage is tied to the FPS, so if the FPS drops during these fights, it means you're doing less damage, which can make these fights go badly.
All right, he's just gonna jump here. We're gonna activate the crane and bait him. And we got the good, oh man, bless you.
And now it's going to be very similar to the G1 fight. Lots of slashing. The only difference is we can't actually knock him out. we need the crane's help to finish this one off. So the goal here is to get it below half health, which is usually between like 21 and 24 slashes with the knife. So you'll see Lily went through 2 knives there. And now the objective here is just to try to get him hit by the crane.
Oh man,
See
what
ya.
a great fight. See ya.
Easy.
Get out of here, G2. We didn't like you anyway. Get out of here.
And that knife and that flash grenade are for the lab section, which we're coming up to now, because now we get to save Sherry.
Yeah. She's stuck here in the sewer. And she also got infected with the G virus, so the G embryo. And we're heading on to the labs. The labs can be the scariest part of this run. And of course, it's the last section too. So, but we'll talk about that when we get there. So yeah, that G2 fight can have a couple different moves that he does. We got the best RNG. I'm like surprised. He'll do like a 1, 2, 3 slash, like 1 slash, 2 slash, and then a third on the floor. So that allowed me to get a lot of knife hits in. So that was a really, really good fight.
Cable car.
Alright, going to the cable car.
Yeah.
And the
Check everything.
lab section is pretty much getting the antiviral agent for Sherry because she's infected. We need to get her back to 100%. But we're gonna run into another new enemy here as well, which can be extremely deadly. But you will see them very, very soon.
I'm getting you treatment. Just hold on.
Come on, Sherry, you can do it. Take a sip of water.
Everybody hydrate. It's a good time to hydrate. Everybody hydrate.
Please hydrate. Yeah, we're just carrying Sherry. We could do this with one hand.
Ooh, strong.
Do a little dance.
Oh, you meant move Claire. I thought you meant carry Sherry. Okay, sorry. My bad.
No. All good.
Enjoy your visit.
Okay. Boom. We get the wristband, which we use to unlock certain areas in the labs. So we pretty much have to collect all the little upgrades throughout the lab section, and we'll be zooming.
So you saw that shot there too. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. No, sorry. I was just gonna say I was gonna pick up the extra ammo, but yeah. No, that's super pertinent. I totally forgot.
So the shot that she did on the wall there, very similar to the shot that she did outside the library. It's to manipulate the zombie that's on the other side of that door. So hopefully he'll be standing next to that door, which is where we want him to be, but we'll cross our fingers.
Yeah, we'll see. Oh, we got him. Nice. It actually worked. Yeah, sometimes he just is like, ooh, a gunshot. Let me go towards it. And then sometimes he's just like, nah. What is that? So I'm going to go to the right of him, and he's going to do a quick turn, and that's really scary. Yeah, that's perfect, because if you go the other way, he'll do like a different move, and he'll just grab you, and yeah.
But that's ideally what you're looking for. You'd just be like, that's a mighty fine door.
Yeah, he'll just be staring at it like, oh, hey, how you doing?
So now we're coming up to the plant section of the labs.
Yeah. Not very nice section. I mean, if I had to choose, I think I would choose the IVs over the liquors, but...
Yeah, I think I would too.
Yeah. I mean, they're really bad. They're really deadly, which we'll explain very soon why, but...
Yeah, so as we're going through this section here, the IVs that we're going to run into, they're kind of plant-like zombies in this game. If they grab you and you don't have a self-defense weapon, it immediately kills your character, which obviously in a speedrun isn't great.
Yeah, no, absolutely not.
But using your sub item is also not good because we need the knife to be able to play the boss fight. So we don't want to get grabbed by any of these. Thankfully,
Yeah,
you can just shoot one of the bulbs on them and they immediately get stunned, which allows us to run past them.
Yeah, they've actually caught me a few times where it's like, well, do I use a sub item and risk the next boss fight and, you know, not get a good fight in, or do I just die? So they can pretty much end your run if they grab you. So you want to be very careful. And I put that in the wrong slot. That's okay.
That's okay.
Yeah. So you'll see me shooting their bulbs, or I'll use the spark shot since I have extra ammo. So that way I can stagger them. And this is RGB, RGB, RGB.
Yeah, it's another puzzle that seems a little more daunting than it is. But if you're an avid PC gamer, it's just RGB, RGB, RG. Pretty easy overall.
Yeah, and boom, we're done.
Just think of pretty lights and it'll go.
Yeah. RGB, or as you say, really good beer. Really good beer, really good beer. All right, boom. And pretty much what this vial or container is going to do is going to destroy all this plants here. So that way we can get the... oh, hello? Hello? Hi? I don't have an extra... well,
Everything's fine.
okay. No, yeah, I can grab the extra ammo upstairs, so that's no issue at all. Yeah, because we're going to need the extra ammo. I just have bad aim, sorry.
No, you're good. So in this section, Lily's going to toss a grenade over to the left. There are 2 zombies over here that are normally alive after you come back through this section. This just makes it a little more consistent.
Yeah. Oh, look. The lickies are back. Why? Why do you do this to me?
So up here, we're grabbing the... Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was gonna explain. So we're just going to stair skate up here and make our way to the modulator. Pretty much. Just grab this spare ammo and wait to reload. Thank you. Oh, there we go. Okay, no big. Yeah, I feel like there's always like this run can be super beginner friendly. Like you can pick up so many things along the way that can help you.
Yeah, and that's something that's really fun about the Resident Evil 2 speedruns in general, and just Resident Evil speedruns too, is the communities are all really great. I'm gonna be quiet for a second while you do the lickers.
Oh, sure.
Just you did a shot there to try to manipulate the lickers onto the ceiling, and then used a flash grenade to flash them down, which stuns them for a little while longer. And we're gonna pray to RNG that we get out of it unscathed here. Murph. Let's go. Easy, not even close.
Thank you all for blessing us.
Not even close.
So that section is pretty much the worst section of the game.
Did you pack your parka?
Damn.
I did not. I'm really cold.
Darn it.
Rip. Everybody pack your parkas.
Cooling complete.
So yeah, they're just the worst. I don't know if we touched on the camera manipulation, but basically why I'm staring back at them. I mean, it's to see where they are as well, so I can like try to avoid them. But it also makes them sort of camera shy in a way. They'll like alter their movements and sort of, hi. Oh, hi. Can you let me through, please? Thank you very much. Okay. All right. Wow, they're being...
Bullies.
No!
Oh, no.
No, they doubled... Okay, so unfortunate, but that's just what happens in RE runs. And the worst thing is the continue is so incredibly far back.
Yeah.
Or sorry, the autosave. Or the checkpoint, rather, sorry. Dying there's the worst.
Yeah. Another forgiving part about the standard speed run as well. You can continue on the standard speed run. So if you do end up getting hit by some bad RNG, but you got a good pace going, you can still continue the run on the standard run. Which is a nice little handicap as you're walking through things too, which is nice. And these lickers, even the top tier speedrunners in this category can struggle with those lickers in this lab. It's really challenging section.
Yeah, it's kind of high paper. It's kind of ridiculous. They're just so incredibly aggressive. Like I even stunned them. They recover extremely fast, and they just wombo comboed me pretty much at that point. Like I couldn't even heal. Like I had the extra heals too, but that just goes to show that they are extremely savage. Let me see if I can. Oh, hi. Well, that one didn't cooperate. Yeah. Oh man, what is going on here?
We're good.
And if I don't look at him too, he'll run up to me even faster. So I just gotta pray. Oh my god, you are nasty.
Bullies.
Yeah, they're really big bullies. All right, well, we still have an herb left. Chat, I need your energies, chat. Everyone gather around. Once we make it past this liquor section, I mean, it can still be pretty spooky, but this is the spookiest part of the run, which unfortunately I died to. And despite me practicing a lot and stuff, it's just, they're so random. Like,
it's a really challenging section. Even for the top speedrunners in this category, this is tough.
I'm gonna try to. Okay. All right. Oh, all right. We made it out. Oh, that's exactly what I wanted in the first place, but you know, unfortunately, sometimes they're just more aggressive than other times. But yeah. It's really nothing I can do. I'm gonna be super safe, and if any of the IVs are in front of me, I'm just gonna pop them with the spark shot.
Yeah.
So we're killing the plants here so we can get the next card. Sorry, not card. Wristband upgrade. So yeah. Oh man. I was hoping that wasn't going to happen in this run.
Yeah, it's okay.
With
We're
the
cruising.
liquor part, but yeah, it's totally fine. It is totally fine.
And now we're making our way to the G3 fight.
Yeah. I'm not going to say nothing about him because last time I gave him a compliment,
He was a
kind of
bully.
betrayed me. Yeah. So, boom, you just shoot that IV. The spark shot's just really good. You could just stagger them. Do I have an extra herb? I do. Okay, perfect. So yeah, there's herbs all around the labs, just around the whole game, where you know, you can pick up for safety. Also, did we touch on DA?
Oh, we didn't. I can actually touch on that for a little while here.
Oh,
So
right, yeah.
the difficulty adjustment in this game, which is what DA stands for, not District Attorney, difficulty adjustment. Capcom's actually been doing this in Resident Evil games back since Resident Evil 4. So basically, anytime you start doing really well in the game, your DA will go up. And if you start doing poorly, your DA will come back down. It's meant to try to give that kind of perfect blend of balance. So as Lily picks up bullets, picks up herbs, you'll notice that like these zombies are getting a little tougher. Some things won't stagger quite as easily, and that's because the difficulty adjustment is moving up. But every time she gets bit or slashed by a liquor, all the DI will come back down a little bit, and that does impact these boss fights, especially the G fights.
Oh yeah, it impacts them in a huge way. So typically when you're doing the run, you want to keep yourself at a certain DA. So, you know, if you see yourself getting a little too high up, you can just shoot some bullets. It'll go down by a bit. I mean, also if you want to get bit, you can, just to kind of be on the safe side. But all right, I'm gonna prep here, lower the image quality again. But yeah, let's see how G3 goes.
Our praise.
Our prey.
So in this section here, you saw her go into her inventory to switch her knife around, and she's equipping the spark shot again. That's to stop it from Claire actually doing the animation of pulling out a new knife. Perfect. Let's go.
Yeah, let's go.
That's a great fight. And then after the first 3 eyes get popped, you can go behind G3 and slash its back about 12 times. And then you turn around and start slashing him in the eyes where he takes a little bit more damage. And then you should be able to one-cycle it just like that. And that was a perfect fight. That's exactly what we were looking for.
Yeah, that went perfect. And I said I wasn't going to say anything because last time I was like, oh, G3 is such an easy fight. So good. And then like 2 runs in a row, I don't know what happened, but it just went really poorly. So that's actually one of my favorite. Yeah, it's actually one of my favorite fights in the game because it's just so. I don't know. I just the knife sounds are just so satisfying. Also, I didn't mean to trigger that. Sorry, Sherry. I'm not gonna leave without you. Don't worry.
I'm trying to abandon her.
No, Sherry. I'm so sorry. All right, let's go. So we healed Sherry. We got the antiviral agent. And now we're approaching the final part of the game. That's it. We're almost done.
Now we gotta get out.
Yeah, just gotta get out. So yeah, pretty much with that G fight as well. Or sorry, G3. You skip so many phases in that boss fight. Like I think he has 3 phases. Like his normal, just like phase, his second really aggressive phase, and then the last phase he's just fuming. He will throw all the objects in the room. It gets really crazy, so skipping all those phases is extremely important.
Moral of the run, never underestimate the knife.
Yep. Knife is king.
Sherry gonna have abandonment issues now, true. Abandoned by her parents, abandoned by Claire.
No, Sherry, I'm here. I gave you my best.
You still have it on.
It's okay. Oh, well, my extra vest that I had in my closet. It's all good. All right, here we go. Yeah, our final knife of the game. There is going to be more Ivis here. Ivis? Hello, Elvis? Ivis? There's going to be more Ivies, but we're going to zoom past these. I'm pretty sure Leon can't, since poor old Leon has to run on fine. He can't run past these Ivies, but Claire
is better.
She's she's just better. She could just zoom past them easily on caution. So
where you at, Leon?
All right, so you're gonna see me just knifing the floor, but don't worry, there's a reason for that. So while Sherry gets this door open for us because it's locked, we're gonna be getting rid of all our knives so that way we have extra inventory space for the final boss. Oh, well, hello, you're over there. And he's dead. Nice. So I'm just gonna break all of them.
Goodbye, Ivis.
Any day now. Bye, Ivis. See you later. Wait, what?
Hello?
Wait, what?
Hello?
I thought I was gonna, I'm like, dude, I want to get grabbed. Please. Oh my. Okay, you're getting too close, sir. There we go.
It's because we call him Ivis.
Too
I'm sorry.
close for. Sorry, Ivis. See ya. Oh, I still have a knife. Let's get rid of that real quick. Oh, please, thank you. Okay. Ivis. All right, so I saved a final shot for the final zombie. Boop. Goodbye.
That zombie has 1 HP, so you could breathe on him and he'll fall down.
Yeah. But we don't want to do that. We just want to make sure he's down on the ground, just to avoid any bites. All right. So here comes G4, the final fight of the game. I would explain what we're gonna do, but basically just gotta pop all the eyeballs. And I am gonna attempt to go for the knife kill. If I don't get it, that's fine. If I do, hey, that'd be super sick. Yeah, that'd be super hype. But you know, we'll see what happens. Either way, it's been a good run, despite the 1 death. It's been pretty good. All right, so I'm gonna make sure we have everything equipped. Lower the image again for one last time. Here we go.
So in this fight, G4 only takes damage from getting in his eyes. So we're trying to focus all of his eyeballs down. And then he's going to try to climb and get away, but we're not going to let him.
No.
Bully.
No, I didn't get it.
So close.
He's so close. He's one hit. It's super inconsistent, but we'll do the knife slash anyway.
There we go.
The amount of hours that I practiced that knife kill, and I did get it a lot, but it's just kind of inconsistent for me right now. But that's okay.
That's
Still
time.
a good time. Yeah, that's time. Thank you so much. That was a really oh man. Screw you, G4. All right, what was our final time despite the hiccup?
Looking like a
not bad.
57:35. Yeah.
Yeah, 55 in game.
Not bad at all.
Amazing.
Sweet. Nice. Well, thank you, Lana, for having me. This was a really cool opportunity. Thank you. Thank you, GDQ, for having me as well. And it was really fun. Thank you, especially Gary. Thank you for commentating with me. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, thanks for having me, everybody. I appreciate it. This was a lot of fun. I hope you guys enjoyed.
Yeah, and thank you to the cat crew, to my community that I see in chat. I appreciate y'all so much. Thank you for being here. And I'll let Lana take it away. I'm really excited for Bayonetta, by the way.
Yes.
Super excited.
Totally. Do you also, before you go, do you want to let us know where to find you for your own fun things?
Yeah, sure. So I'm a Twitch streamer. I'm also on all social media platforms. I'm on Twitch, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. The handle is usually just Real Kitty Rar. On Twitch, I am just Kitty Rar. So if you guys want to come by my stream, I do a lot of survival horror games. I do a lot of Resident Evil, cosplay, speedruns. Been dabbing into VR, and I just do a lot of variety. So if you like that, come through. Be nice to have you.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much again, Lily and Gary, for hanging out with us on She Is Speed. What an incredible run.
you.
Let's give another round of applause in chat for some Resident Evil 2, Claire.
Thank
Woo!
you. Yeah. And please go follow Gary as well. He does speedruns as well. He does a lot of variety.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's such a joy to have you both on. We're going to be heading to a short break right away as we get ready for our Bayonetta 2 run coming up. It's going to be so good. Before we leave, just a quick announcement. A reminder that your subs, Prime Gaming subs, gift subs, and bits cheered on the GDQ Twitch channel help support Games Done Quick, both with Hotfix and with a GDQ 2023 costs. So please consider subscribing if you enjoy our daily GDQ content. Once again, we are going to catch y'all right after this break, so stick around, and we've got some more Bayonetta 2 coming right after this break. Enjoy! Hello, everybody, and welcome back to She Is Speed. We just had an incredible run from Kitty Roar, aka Lily, who was doing some Resident Evil 2 Claire route. It was absolutely incredible, and we still have another beautiful run on the docket for y'all to watch. So next up, we have a run from a variety pack, but first, just a quick announcement. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to go to twitch.tv/gamesdonequick if you are interested in looking at our live content. It starts weeknights at 7 p.m. Eastern and weekends at 1 p.m. Eastern. All right, so like I had promised, we have some Bayonetta 2 coming right up. I'll pass it over to a variety pack to tell us more about it. Take it away.
All right, thank you very much. My name is Variety Pack. I'm a streamer of this game, a speedrunner of this game, Bioshock Infinite, Skyward Sword HD, a couple other things. Trying to live up to my name a little bit. I'm joined here tonight by
Miss Paisan,
who is a fantastic Bayonetta 1 Styleville person, a speedrunner as well. And today we'll be presenting to you Bayonetta 2 Rosa Normal Present. You might be wondering, some of you might be wondering, this seems very awfully familiar to the same thing that you did on Flame Fatale just a couple weeks ago. And the difference is, it's just a little bit more blue this time. We're playing it on normal instead of easy. We'll go over the differences between those two things as we go along, but starting time, I'll count you down from 5. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and all right, so you're probably very familiar with the titular character Bayonetta. She's in Smash, she's everywhere, all in the promotion, especially for the new game coming out in October next month. We're not going to be playing as Bayonetta this time. We're going to be playing as a character called Rosa, and this is canonically Bayonetta's mother. Some of the dialogue won't exactly make a ton of sense. It's definitely just programmed to be Bayonetta. This is such a sort of just a fun, unlockable character. The main difference between Rosa and Bayonetta is that Rosa has this little, just tiny property that doesn't really matter that much. She only does 3 times as much damage. And obviously that ends up being a huge factor in throughout this run. You just wipe through enemies like they're butter. Nothing survives. There's a downside to that. That is that we take 3 times as much damage as well. Now, when I was doing this on Flame Fatales, I was playing this on easy mode. That made it so the damage that we took was pretty much negligible. We didn't really have to worry about our health bar too much. That 3 times as much damage didn't come into play. That is not the case on normal. There were a lot of times that we took damage on purpose. We cannot afford to do that on normal mode. The 3 times damage really comes into play, and it's extremely dangerous. There will be still times where we take damage on purpose, but it's not going to be nearly as common. That 3 times damage is sort of the reason why I'm playing this game, or playing Rosa specifically. The Bayonetta runs, they do exist, obviously. They're very long, and they sort of hurt my hands. They're very button mashy, and sort of, they force you to hold your hands down on the buttons a lot. As a musician and a speedrunner for a lot of other games, that's not really something that I want to be doing too much. So Rosa, who just inflicts absolute carnage on literally everything that she touches, this was a perfect fit for me, and I think that that will be exemplified on normal as well. We're going to cover a couple basic things as we go along, just in case you're not super familiar with the game. There's basically 2 attacks. There's punch, and then there's kick. Normally you're not in this gigantic mech thing. We'll cover that as we go along later. And they can be strung into any number of combos. However, because we're playing on Rosa and we're trying to be as optimal as possible for this speed run, we're really only going to use 1 combo, and I'm going to show you it right now. It's... just a second. Okay, it's punch, kick, punch, and that's basically everything we're going to be doing when we're playing as Rosa. Something that we also want to be doing is holding down the buttons as we play, or as we do these attacks. So our punch we hold down, our kick we hold down, and our punch we hold down as well. That lets us shoot do a little bit more damage through revolvers on our both our hands and our feet.
The most feeble thing in nature, but now we were thinking, and we took our first.
Now I do currently hold the world record for this particular category at the moment. However, there's a lot more optimization to do, and the leaderboards are a perfect place to get into the run if you're so inclined. Hopefully I can convince you to take a look at it by the end of this run. Alright, so we begin the prologue, and there's one thing that we need to keep in mind throughout this beginning portion, and that's to keep up our combo meter, something that's a famous aspect of the Bayonetta games is that this combo meter is basically constantly going to be in your face. And that basically determines your final score at the end of every chapter. In this case, it is extremely dangerous to lose your combo points, as you see on basically the right-hand side of your screen, that purple stuff there, because we need to have a combo of at least 7,000 ideally by the end of this first chapter here. That's because you get exponentially more halos or money as you go along with a higher combo. So we're going to do our best to not drop that here. Something that you can do to preserve your combo length is do this thing that I just did by pressing down on the D-pad, this taunting action. What it allows you to do is taunt your enemies, turn them red, make them more aggressive, but it preserves your combo meter. Now, obviously, when you're playing on this mode, this normal mode, that is really, really dangerous, because if you get hit by any of those attacks, it's basically game over for you. So we're going to need to be careful as we keep going through this particular section. Something that you might have noticed me turn into there is a giant mech. That might be a little bit confusing to you. So if you take a look at the top left-hand corner of your screen, you're going to see a glowing purple orb. That is your magic meter. Once your magic meter is full, as it is right now, you can turn into this gigantic mech called the Umbran Climax. Bayonetta and Rosa have different Umbran Climax powers, but for Rosa, it's basically the most powerful sort of transformation that you can naturally get in this game. It's so powerful that you spend the entire time in the Bayonetta runs just trying to get it. You spend half of your time just grinding enough halos to get it. It's that powerful, and because the game's makers didn't really exercise restraint in this particular category, they decided to give it to us just for free at the very beginning of this particular run. So yeah, we're going to just be punching and kicking our way through this early game here. We're going to meet, I think I said in the last time, oh yes, one other thing to mention is this very important mechanic called Witch Time that I just failed actually. By pressing right trigger, you can dodge through most enemy attacks and slow down time. On the easy mode runs, this was very useful and unuseful depending on the circumstance. Obviously it's very good because you have to avoid damage and deal a lot of damage back to your opponents. The only problem is, it's very slow to do so. It wastes a lot of time because you just have to sort of sit there and wait for some animations to end. So we're going to try to avoid in easy mode what we normally do is we actually try to avoid using Witch Time whenever possible, because it's actually more optimal to take damage in some of those places. That is not the case in normal mode. In normal mode, every bit of health that you have counts, and you definitely don't want to squander any of it. One other major difference between the run that I did in Flame Fatales and this one is that in Flame Fatales, I had access to 2 magic bars, which lets you tear through basically every single chapter in this game. That is not the case in this particular run. In normal mode, you have access to 1 magic bar, so your sort of optimization on how you're using that magic bar comes into play a lot more. You have to use a lot more items to sort of manage it and be a little bit more gracious with it. Hot Mess, so why don't you go ahead and tell us exactly who we're seeing on screen right now?
Oh, this is Gamora. This is a infernal demon summon and one of Bayonetta's pets. But in this segment, he is about to disobey his owner. He has been possessed by a spirit that will be introduced to later on, and in the meantime, we need to subdue him.
Yeah, he's being a little bit naughty right now. So we're going to... Normally this fight takes quite a while. You need to go to the top of the tower, King Kong style, and sort of take him out that way. But you'll notice that his health bar is already gone. This is why I love running Rosa. Although it can be volatile with health, and it's very frustrating when you lose a run to taking too much damage. Your damage output is through the roof, and it's so satisfying to just tear through enemies like this, even bosses. These huge cinematic fights on top of this gigantic New York style building here is just over in seconds. So something that Rosa's going to be doing here that I don't quite understand is the first demon summon didn't work, so why don't we go ahead and summon a second one? I don't know where she found the confidence to do that again, but glad it worked out this time. Something that you did not see, because we were skipping a bunch of cutscenes, is our friend Jean, who is going to be the one in the red. She was our best friend from the first game, and she sort of got the soul knocked out of her here. So we're going to spend the first half of the game trying to rescue her, get her soul back for her.
We only have a limited amount of time. If we fail in our mission, her soul will be trapped in Inferno for all time. So,
yeah, we absolutely do not want that to happen. So we're going to be a nice witch for once and go rescue our friend. All right, starting up on chapter 1 here. We are introduced to the transformations of this game, the animal transformations. The first one that we're going to be introduced to is, I believe, the Cougar Within for Rosa. Lets you go super fast, fastest ground movement speed in the game. Thankfully, they carry it over from Bayonetta 1 and don't force you to go half the game without it like they do in that first game. We just sort of immediately get it here. There's going to be a book, this purple book down the hallway there's a bunch of books in this game, and we're going to try to avoid all of them because they basically just give you a text saying, congratulations, you got more information, but we're speedrunners and we don't really need it, nor do we want it. Instead, we're going to abuse this game's lack of clarity with its triggers and do this fight skip here by jumping outside the trigger of that fight and that large circular arena. You can jump on the pillar and sort of somersault our way without having to do that fight. You can do up to 4 somersaults without having to go into this animation where he says, oh, you've been dodging too much, so we're going to make use of that as much as we can in water. Coming up, we have our first shopping trip. This is one of 3, I believe, in this particular category. We're going to be picking up purple candies, red candies, and yellow candies. Hotmess, can you explain what those do, respectively?
Sure. The purple candies increase your magic meter, the purple orbs you see underneath your health meter. The yellow candies grant you a shield of invincibility, the duration depending on whether or not you've used a small or a large one. Same thing for purples, actually. The number of orbs you are granted depends on the size of the candy. And red candies increase your damage under certain circumstances.
Indeed. Something else that I bought is this thing down here, this red hotshot. That basically means that if I die at any point in this game, I get 1 free chance to revive and try to beat that fight. Hopefully we do not have to use it, but this is a show, and we want to put on a good show. So it does waste time to get it, obviously. Optimally, you don't get it at all, but we're going to be a little bit safe. One of the abilities that we bought, the techniques, I believe they call them in this game, is the Crow Within. And this is the most damage that you can do just normally as Rosa. And I'll show you what it does right here. If you have magic, like we just got right now, you can turn into this crow and summon this ring of feathers, which absolutely decimates enemy health bars. It's kind of hard to show that off right now, but I'll show it off in the next boss fight that's coming up against a sword guy called Valiance. Here's our mech that we can turn into since we have a full magic bar. We're going to wait for this one guy to show up and then just do one final combo on him. Alright, so we didn't actually end the fight with magic, which is a little bit unfortunate, but that's not too big of a deal. Like I said, our next fight is going to be against this big sword guy. His face is on his shield, because of course it is. His name is Valiance. And with enough magic, you're going to see the bottom right-hand side is going to have a health bar, and I want you to watch it deplete as though it were nothing. So we dodge this first attack, start going up, and we can just watch that entire thing melt away. And that's the end of the fight. So optimal use of the feathers is definitely something that you need to really keep an eye out on, because you need to have magic in order to use it, obviously, and sometimes there's some environmental conditions that makes it a little bit hard to stay so airborne as the crow, so you can't get the feathers. So there's a lot of sort of detailed information that's too boring for me to explain here that you need to keep in mind of as you go along. We can end this fight in hopefully 2 punches, very good, because the mech is overpowered. And we got our first cutscene with this new character called Loki. Hotmess, how do you feel about this character called Loki?
I feel like Loki is meant to slow us down while simultaneously yelling at us to hurry up. I find him a bit of an annoyance. What about you?
Yeah, he's supposed to be this extremely important character to this game, but he comes off as a brat, and that's because that's what he is. And during my Flame Fatales run, I basically used all of this time when we have cutscenes with him to sort of just get donations out of the way, because that's any donation to the Malala Fund was infinitely more important than anything this kid has to say. So we'll have a substitute commentary for that as we go along, instead of having donations. One other thing that you can do with the feathers is sort of preload them into fights. Basically what that means is that if there's a fight that's coming up that does not have a preceding cutscene, you can enter the fight with feathers sort of preloaded, meaning that you don't have to waste time. That was very close. You don't have to waste time summoning them, and you can just start the fight with them already active. That was a lot of damage. This is why we need to be a little bit careful. And we're gonna have another fight. That guy survived. We're gonna have a fight against, I believe this one is called Urbane, the one with the fire. And we're gonna dispose of him in basically the same way as we did Valiance. We're just gonna feathers him to death, and there he is.
Everything in Bayonetta 2 is quite afraid of birds, you see.
Oh, absolutely. I honestly, I am too. Coming up, we have a fight against the thing that's sort of been causing a ruckus in this town here. His name is Glamour, and we're going to be optimally, we use the feathers 4 times in the first phase to get him down to his final health bar, but that doesn't always pan out, so we'll see how this goes. There's 1, there's 2, there's 3, there's 4. Very, very good. So now what I can do is turn to the crow one last time and start shooting feathers directly at his head. And so we finish the fight before we even get to the second phase. That was a perfect fight.
Fantastic work.
Now we can just hold the shoot button and he's going to be down, and we can start the final cutscene here. One thing I didn't mention about the mech is that we're going to be very degenerate with it. There's so many cool combos you can do with the mech and Rosa, but in the spirit of speedrunning, the only combo we ever use with the mech is punch, 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 which is extremely degenerate, but it is optimal, so we're going to make use of it a lot.
I think whatever works is the way forward.
Indeed. Starting off chapter 2, we get access to a free red candy, which is going to be very useful down the line, which, as you'll remember, increases your damage output. And we'll have a new fight against this new enemy called Raptor, I believe. He basically buffs the enemies around him, so we can take him out in one, hopefully get our feathers up here, take out the rest of these little horse guys. 2 more Raptors will spawn, but hopefully we can take them out before they do any damage and be dead. They're good. And rather unfortunately, coming up after this very cool spiral water cutscene, we have another Loki cutscene. So this looks very cool, right? But of course they need to diminish it with a very obnoxious character. What I like to do in my streams when this happens is just sort of do spins. So if anyone in chat has any spin emotes, this is the perfect time to use them.
You think I'm just going to tell you my secrets when I don't even know who
Now is the time for spinning.
All right.
I like that the robes of banishing also cover Rosa's entire face as she spins with gusto.
Yeah, the physics on them are way, way, way too good.
I got nothing else to say, love.
All right, so we have one other instance of preloading feathers here. We can jump up here, turn to the crow, preload our feathers into this next fight, and there's going to be 2 enemies with very large health bars, but as Rosa, we don't really care about health bars, and the fight's already done.
Nothing can contain me.
I'm happy to be seeing so many spins in chat, by the way. Alright, so coming up here, there's a skip that you can do with one of the abilities we bought called Infinite Witch Twist. I am very bad at it, so I'm not going to attempt it in the interest of time, but just know that it exists, and it lets you skip this fight that I'm about to do right here. Instead, we're going to preload our feathers, take out this first guy, and take out these 2 Raptors before they do too much damage. Very good. Then we have a second surprise boss fight against... oh gosh. The names of these enemies always gets me.
This is Belief.
Belief. Very good.
Yes.
You know, they can make all the fancy sounding names they want, but when it comes down to it, you are at the mercy of Rosa's feathers, so you can be as fancy as you want, but it really doesn't matter all that much.
Nothing can stand against the mom power of Rosa.
Indeed. Alright, so I just accidentally entered the pause menu for no reason there, but that's okay. We're gonna head down here, dodge to exit the chapter. So chapter 3 is a speedrunner's worst nightmare. It's not only an autoscroller, but it's an autoscroller that sort of forces you to stay in the phases and doesn't let you do excess damage. It's against another Glamour, unfortunately. So what I'm going to be doing is trying to dodge one of his attacks that comes at me, get a double punch kick punch combo off, and hopefully that'll take him down to the damage limit that he allows me every phase. If you remember my Flame Fatales run, or if you watched it, I guess, you might remember that I took damage on the second one, the second charge, because he does 2 charges, but we've already done all the damage, so using Witch Time is a little bit slower, actually. I'm going to attempt to do that here, but like I said, on normal mode, that's very, very dangerous because you take a lot more damage. We're going to try it, but if it turns out that I have too little health, I will absolutely still use Witch Time to preserve the, shall we say, the strength, I guess, of the run. There's a better word I was looking for.
A little safety, a little fallback.
Yeah. So here's the first charge. We're going to dodge it with Witch Time. We're going to try to get our double combo off. Hopefully this should get it to the damage limit, and it did. Very good. He's going to send a bunch of debris at us again, and we don't really mind. It's not too hard to dodge, which makes it feel really bad when you do get hit by it, but that's okay. And then he's going to charge again. We're going to get hit on purpose. That's could be a problem. We'll have to see down the line. Luckily, I have a red hot dot just in case things get bad. All right, here it comes. Ouch. That doesn't look like a ton of damage, but it really stacks up because he does the same thing. He basically does the exact same thing in the second phase that we're going to enter here. So, I guess since the second phase is basically the same thing as the first phase, I have a question for you, Hotness, and that is, what do you find the biggest differences between the first and second games?
I would say that some of the combat physics feel different. You spend a lot of time in style play, you'll notice enemy interactions are rather different. You can't launch or make enemies airborne as easily, particularly outside of Witch Time. I find that some of the weapons are more specialized, which can have their benefits, but I would say that those are like probably the biggest differences for me, because while the enemies have different telegraphing in some ways, it's not enough for it to be completely unintelligible to me. What about you?
I think we've talked about how we disagree about this. I find, damn it, I didn't want to take. I find Bayonetta 1's combat a little bit stiffer. I believe Hotness thinks the other way, and that all comes down to personal preference. I have not really looked at the Bayonetta 1 run, but I do think I'd find it interesting if I went back and did it. It's very different than this. There's a lot more glitches that you make use of than this one, and so I think of this one as more the execution run. All right, so as we enter phase 3 and into Heaven/Paradiso, we got a bit of a difference in phase. The left hand will be surrounded on 2 sides by 2 other glamours. We're going to use our mech punch combo on the first one, some punch kick punch combos on the second one, and then something new on the third one that we'll get to. And there's the first one done. The second one should go down in just a couple combos here. Good. And so there's new information that I did not know when I did my Flame Fatales run, is that his health bar is actually active before the health bar shows up. So we can actually end the fight way earlier than expected by turning to the mech, popping a small red candy, and ending the fight before we even get to see the health bar. So I saved a little bit of time on that with my newest world record. Something that you may notice from my Flame Fatales run is that there's a couple different strategies, a couple things that I wasn't aware of when I was doing that run that I've since been made aware of. And especially lore things. If there's one thing that I could go back and change in my Flame Fatales run, is that a lot of my lore/enemy name knowledge is not the best. Luckily, I have a Bayonetta expert here with me to correct any of my misinformation.
I'll do my very best.
All right. We're coming up on chapter 4 here. That also begins with a fight skip. Generally speaking, the fight skips in this game normally are very telegraphed. Typically tend to be in very large circular arenas, which are very telegraphed, but this one's just on that bridge over there. So we're going to avoid that by turning into the crow for something other than feathers this time, jumping off this little vertice here and just flying over. We're going to use our first big purple candy, and there's a couple reasons for that, assuming everything goes optimally. What's going to happen here is we're going to enter a fight that is best done with, in my opinion, a instance of the Umbren climax. And it should optimally leave us with about 2 orbs of magic left. If that happens, then I'll be able to end the rest of this chapter quite smoothly. It did happen, that's very good. We have a boss against another Urbane coming up. We're going to feathers that to death as we have done in the past. And then we have a fight against a new enemy and a sort of recurring boss in this game named the Lumen Sage, or more colloquially, Boulder. I'm gonna rely on Hot Mess to give you the lore on Baldur really quick here.
So Baldur is Bayonetta's father, and the incarnation we are meeting currently is his young form, as his older form had passed away in the first Bayonetta game after her skirmish with Jubileus.
And that fight is going to look very, very fast. The reason we wanted to make sure we beat him quickly is because he can lock you into these really long, damaging on normal percent combo strings, and obviously that's bad news bears. So we're going to basically pop a red candy to do extra damage. We're going to continuously pop these small purple candies to get our magic meter up so we can consistently turn into this mech. It is extremely important that we do this quickly. So there's the first phase. We're going to pop a small candy, get some damage in, and do the second phase here. Do the same thing here, pop a small candy, and do the third phase. And then here's the fourth phase, where we're playing as someone that Hot Mess is probably more qualified to describe to you.
We're fighting Temperance, and we are fighting as Madame Butterfly. Temperance is an enemy that we met in Bayonetta 1, and I like to call him Noodle Fingers because his fingers look like noodles.
Very apt description for sure.
He's one of the cardinal virtues that we meet early in the game, but we see a billion times. And I believe we see him multiple times in this iteration as well.
Performance might make the back page declassified.
Alright, heading into chapter 5, we are introduced to the worst of the transformations. I believe it's called the Cobra within, specifically for Rosa. And it's annoying for a very specific reason. In order to move, you have to mash B to go fast because we're in a speedrun, but we also have to move the control stick, the right control stick, in order to aim the camera. So what you find yourself doing is swapping your hand between moving the control stick and mashing B, and it's really hard to do both at the same time, so just some obnoxious button placement.
Definitely was a peculiar input choice on their part to make that button dash.
Yeah, it's not too big of a deal, but it's definitely, I think obnoxious is the perfect word to describe it. Alright, Loki's gonna summon try to summon a bridge for us. We're going to activate it with a sort of interpretive dance, you might say. And then we're going to fight the first Inferno, or Hell enemy. That's something new from the first game. We didn't really fight any of those, but we get to fight a lot of them in Bayonetta 2. The first one is called Pain. He has a lot of gears on him, and we're going to face him the same way that we've done all the other bosses. Get some damage, get some magic, dodge, and then feathers the rest of it. Something that happened there that I'm not a huge fan of is that if you, actually, Hot Mess, can you describe Bat/Hornet within really quick?
Sure. So, when you originally start out, you have a single dodge frame window, but Bat and Hornet within extend that dodge window within 5 frames. if you're struck within that 5-frame window, you turn into a flurry of bats, hornets, moths, if you're playing as Jean, and you not only evade damage, but you also get a bit of witch time as a treat.
This is it.
So what happens there, if you activate Hornet Within as the crow, what happens is it sort of forces you to turn back into Rosa. You don't get to continue your combo with the bird, so it loses a couple seconds whenever you have to do that, because you have to re-turn on the bird and re-turn on the feathers, and it's just a little bit obnoxious.
You still don't know a thing about
I did a little bit of fancy movement going into this extremely long cutscene here with Loki. Normally it wants you to start the cutscene at the bottom of the stairs, but because we did this little skip by jumping on the side of the stairwell, we can start this cutscene higher than what was normally intended, which basically means we have to wait less time at the top of the stairwell before the next fight.
I don't even know why I'm so damn sure I need to go to that mountain. But I know.
Which is something of a blessing, because this is a bit of a long walk and talk section in which they're just commiserating over the mutual amnesia that both of them had suffered, Bayonetta in the past and Loki in the present.
If that's all you know, that's all.
Coming up, we have a very obnoxious fight, a GDQ favorite, an orb.
That's what I did.
It's very annoying, because what happens is your punch combo is very powerful, but it's not end-all be-all of everything. So you can accidentally knock enemies too far out of your field of vision, and unfortunately what that means is that the enemies you just don't know some enemies are alive. This is compounded with the fact, see what I mean? This is compounded with the fact that enemies just have a tendency not to spawn sometimes, which is extremely obnoxious. I've found recently that chance increases if you're in any sort of transformation like the bird or the cougar. So I try to avoid doing that. If we do full perfect hops here, we can... I didn't get it. You can ideally avoid every single attack that this guy throws at you, but it's a little bit precise, so we're just going to do it the normal way. Coming up, we have our first double fight against Urbane and its partner. I believe it's called Gravitas.
Yes.
It's actually one of the harder fights in the entire game, all the way this early in Chapter 5. We're just going to pop a red candy, turn on our mech, and then turn on Crow for the rest of the fight. So hopefully it should not last too long.
If I can just do something about that.
Start snacking these guys up a little bit. Ooh, they're in a really good position here, actually. Ooh, wow, I didn't even have to turn to the crow. Yeah, that's very lucky that they did that for me. Do a little spin. And now we enter Chapter 6. Chapter 6 is extremely obnoxious, because it's another Chapter 3 situation where it's just an enemy that has damage limits for all of its phases. Yes, thank you. So we're going to try to stun lock him using punch kick punch combos over and over again. The second reason we want to do this is not only for damage, but also because he has this extremely obnoxious move that he does where he leaps out of the tower, tries to stab you through it. It's really not that hard to dodge, but it is a waste of time. So if we can avoid that at all costs, that is going to be optimal for sure. Once you get past his first health bar, he doesn't tend to do it. So, okay, we avoided certain doom here.
After I've taken care of my business.
We enter the second phase, and we have a lot of candies to spend, actually, because we're going to go shopping in the very next chapter. So we're going to pop this gigantic red candy here, pop our mech, and sort of tank through all these hits, and hopefully end this fight very quickly. Yep, very good. And that's probably the fastest I've ever done it, all things considered. One more mashing cutscene, and I guess it's a good time for the question of what's your favorite sort of end game or end fight summon? We've seen a couple of them now.
In B2? I would say it's Ball. The gigantic frog that comes up from the ground and swallows up enemies. I think he's really cool.
Yeah, it really is. My favorite's Diomedes, who's the swords horseman thing. Not exactly sure what it is, but It's very awesome. Someone said in my chat earlier today, actually, that it's basically like Metal Gear Rising, which I found an apt comparison. I just went to Split, actually. All right, I'm going to go to the store here, because coming up in this chapter, we have another fight against Baldur. So we're going to basically do the exact same thing that we did to him before and sort of bully him out of existence. Grab a couple more candies, and we should be on our way. But before we get to do that, unfortunately, we have to fight this giant manta ray guy. His name is Insidious, and he sucks. I have no other words. He just kind of sucks.
It's an apt description.
Yeah, he has 3 eyes. Well, he has 2 eyes. One of them pops out. All of them have 1 health bar. We're going to taunt him at the beginning of the fight because it makes him move just a little bit faster so we can get into this first phase here. And we're going to basically try to do the exact same thing that we did in the last chapter, where we try to stun lock him with punch, kick, punch combos. Alright, that's the first stun. Hopefully we can get it again. And that's the second one. And that's the third one. That's good. So last time in my Flame Fatales run, same thing with the Witch Time as before, I said that getting hit by these missiles doesn't really hurt. It really hurts in normal, so we're actually going to do our due diligence and try to Witch Time through most of these, because getting hit by them is catastrophically awful. And we're going to do the same thing here. Try to stun lock him. It's a little bit harder to do on this one, but we're going to do our best. Good. No, we didn't get it. That's okay. We're very close to the end of the fight anyway. Good. Okay, that was good enough. We're gonna dodge those missiles normally because they don't have there's not as many hurt boxes for that one. We're gonna pop out that eye that we just beat and hopefully take this guy out. There's no stun locking him, unfortunately, but we do have to keep a close eye on the missiles that are coming out in the background there. Make sure we don't get hit by those things. Ooh, something that I should mention, actually, that I don't think I have yet, that I probably should have, is whenever I do a punch-kick-punch combo in the water or on land, what I normally do first is I briefly turn into the cougar or the snake just before my first hit. That basically increases the damage output just a little bit by including another animal attack into it. Just a little damage optimization there as well. Man, I kind of almost don't want to do a wellness check because this run is going so well, but that's okay. Alright, so coming up, we have a fight against some of the basic hell enemies. I believe its name is Hatred. And after that, we have a fight against Baldur.
It's a rough commute into the rest of Inferno.
Oh, yeah. I love fights where you win the fight, but then you lose in the cutscene. That's a lot of damage. Needs to be a little bit cautious, please. Okay, not too bad. Alright, so I would like to tell you that these Baldur fights, and all the programming that went into them and making them look visually stunning, I'd like to tell you that we get to spend a lot of time there, but unfortunately we do not. We're going to be doing the exact same thing that we did last time, popping some candies and continuously using magic to introduce our Umbran climax. Here's the first phase. Here's the second phase. And there's the third phase. Do one extra punch here to get it out, and there we go. We have a couple more cutscenes to go here. Got any questions for me? I know you had a couple written down.
Yes, absolutely. Let's see. What is your favorite Bayonetta 2 default outfit?
Ooh, good question. So Rosa unfortunately does not get any outfits, but Bayonetta certainly does. Let me think. I think the Zelda one is hilarious.
It is.
I'm not exactly sure why they added it. There's also one where she's wearing her dress from the opening of the game, in a cutscene that we skipped. I also like that one. Very fashionable.
Nothing can
A very good one. Fantastic choices, in fact. I'm a big fan of the black outfit that Sean's wearing towards the end in that last shopping scene.
Yeah. Good choice. All right, so coming up we have Chapter 8, and it involves a technique that we bought at the beginning. So this is Witch Twist. It lets you shoot up into the air like this. We're going to be aiming for a very far spot away from this particular location. It's that golden waterfall that you might see over there. So by using Witch Twist over and over and over again, we can try to skip a fight and a running section. So I'm going to need a little bit of serious time to try to get this. Not even a problem. Awesome. That's the last trick that I learned in this game. Honestly, it takes a little bit of stamina to get. I'm glad I got it first try here.
Fantastic work.
And we'll be finishing this. Oh, do you want to tell us who this guy is?
This guy is Gollum, and he has been pursuing us since the first game.
This is simply the benefit of training.
Gosh, the first iteration he looked a bit like a disco ball, but he's always been able to transform and shapeshift. His iteration in B2 is a little bit faster. And funny fact about Gollum, all those breakable doors in B1 are rumored to be Golems themselves.
Yeah, I said as much in my Flame Fatales run. He was just a giant pain in the butt in the first game. He basically tried to just basically harass you as you did normal things, like solve a puzzle. New bit of tech that I learned is if you sort of run all the way over here, Loki will activate this portal a little bit faster. And you can also take this little jump here to avoid having to do a little bit extra running to get to this little place here. Hot Mess, can you explain exactly what we're trying to do story-wise right now?
So currently, we are having Loki manipulate the remembrance of time to restore broken structures, create new pathways, basically escort us through Inferno on our way to Fimbulventer.
Yeah, so that thing that I crashed into over there, that's the literal gateway to hell. And so what we're basically doing is making these gigantic catapults that sort of launch us towards it and break it little by little. That's where Jean's soul is being kept at the moment, so we're on our way to save her. This is another circular platform, so that implies that there's another big fight that we can thankfully skip with the use of the crow. Coming up is another fight against a couple and big enemies. One of them has a shield, which is absolutely obnoxious, so we're going to try to take him out first, if at all possible. Thank gosh. Okay. And there's the second guy. Alright, so we have another fight against some very annoying snake water enemies coming up, so thankfully we can have preloaded feathers and be the Cobra at the same time. We're going to absolutely make use of that for this next fight here. That's very satisfying. Before I knew about that preloading feathers trick, that fight just wasted seconds upon seconds, so I'm glad I have a better solution to that problem now.
Yeah, those enemies can be a bit of a pest.
Alright, we have another section with Gollum. This one is thankfully quite tolerable. All we do is stay on the inside of this staircase here and just hold one direction on the control stick, so I guess they went for a little bit more spectacle in this one. Coming up, we have a fight against what looks like Pain, but it's on fire, so apparently that warrants a different name. I believe his name is Pride. But like I said, names are basically just formalities in this game. You don't really get to see them all that often. Alright, by launching into its... Oh, one thing I should mention about these catapults here. There are some dark-colored crystals here. We actually want to avoid those, much like the library books. If you get those, it basically gives you a text saying, "Oh, you got this broken witch heart or something," which are basically Zelda heart pieces in this game. So they're good items, obviously, but we typically do not want to get them because they're just not worth our time. Keep reaching over to split. I don't have my splits running.
Looks like Lana Rose has mentioned that we can take a break whenever a good time is. So I was just listening about that thing.
Cozy.
Yeah, this is a terrific time. So we just entered Chapter 9. We're now officially, not quite officially in Hell, but we're just about to be in Hell. So I think if we're going to take a break, now's a terrific time to do so.
Yeah, perfect timing. So we're going to be taking a short break right away, but stick around because we'll be back with the second half of our Bayonetta 2 right after this wellness break. So this is your reminder to make sure to stretch your legs, fill up your water, absolutely whatever you need. And we will catch you right after this. Before we go, just a quick reminder, your subs, Prime Gaming subs, gift subs, and bits cheered on the GDQ Twitch channel help support Games Done Quick, both with Hotfix and with AGDQ 2023 costs. So please consider subscribing if you enjoy our daily GDQ content. All right, enjoy the break, everybody. We will catch you right after this. Bye. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to She Is Speed. We are in the middle of a Bayonetta 2 run featuring a variety pack, so we're not going to hold this up any longer. I'm going to pass it over, and we're going to get right back to the run.
All right, thank you very much. Last time on Bayonetta 2, we were trying to open this gigantic purple triangle prism thing looking over there, which is basically the gateway into Hell. And we're going to keep doing that by basically catapulting ourselves towards it. There's a bit of new tech that I learned here. Let's see if I can get it. Awesome. Okay, cool. That normally you would turn into the bird there. It's very safe, but the bird does lose you a couple seconds because it's a little bit slow on the forward speed, but not too big a deal if I had to rely on it. Got a couple more fights here. This guy is extremely obnoxious, the one with the sword, so we wanted to make sure that we're extra careful around him. Thankfully we were. That's not the end of the fight though. We have another fight against Gravitas here, and we're just gonna spam feathers like we normally do. I would like to issue a correction on something that I said during my Flame Fatales run. I was reading chat back when I was watching the VOD, and apparently, our friend Gollum here never actually lands the final spike in the volleyball segments of the Gollum fights in Bayonetta 1. He always misses. So apparently, him landing the spike in this particular version of the fight is Bayonetta 2 exclusive. So I apologize for that, and we'll get to see it right now. If I get the climax prompt. Okay, good.
It's a cathartic cutscene for people who have been antagonized by Gollum in Bayonetta 1.
Yeah, I bet. So, same thing happens here. We sort of punch him a lot. And in Bayonetta 1, this whole volleyball sequence never really amounts to anything. We always miss. But thankfully, in Bayonetta 2, we finally get the payoff and spike the gate of Hell into existence. And that's not the end of the chapter, though. We have a fight against this mysterious character. Thankfully, he's not too difficult, but maybe Hotfix can give us a little bit of lore here on who that actually is.
Alright, so this is Lopter. He is a mysterious figure, and he has unknown and undue power. He can also manipulate the remembrance of time, and if I remember correctly at this junction, he is called the Prophet, and he is currently after Loki in the cutscene right prior to this, actually, the thing that we had bypassed right over, since this is a speedrun after all. Loki had actually tried to leave us entirely to bypass Inferno and go right to Fimbulventer, and it was Lopter and the Lumen Sage who stepped in, and we made our way on out thanks to Loki's abilities to open portals and send us off to new destinations.
Yeah, that fight is very much like Baldur in the sense that he can sort of lock you into really fast combo strings, so turning on the mech and turning on a red candy is definitely the safest and thankfully the fastest option simultaneously. So welcome to hell. If you don't like bugs, you might want to look away for a little bit. We have these centipede enemies here, and then after that we have a fight against a giant sort of spider crab-ish thing. You know the name of it. I know the name of it, but I can't pronounce it. We had some problems with that during Flame Fatales. Maybe you can give us a rundown.
Yeah, we'll be fighting Phantasma Renee, another one of Bayonetta's pets, actually, who's clearly been imbued with a little bit of naughty behavior of her own, just like our friend Gamora at the very beginning of the game. Phantasma Renee, if I remember correctly, was most famously seen in the Sapientia fights in D1. We would drive an enemy right into the jaws of the spider, which was pretty metal.
So, just as a re-rundown for anyone who might be new here, basically what a lot of boss fights come down to is dodging the first boss attack, inflicting a little bit of damage to get enough magic to activate this Feathers ability that you saw, and just sort of spamming the Feathers command over and over and over again, because that's just the most damage that you do consistently without having to have this like special ability or anything. It's just innate to Rosa once you get that technique. Alright, the bug segment is over, but we are not done with the fights. This basically is a showcase of everything that Hell has to offer, because we never really get to see this in Bayonetta 1. So we have a little fight here against some sort of low-level enemies that we don't really care about very much. But after this is a fight against... man, I don't remember his name.
Are you talking about the fight after the... Is it Sloth?
No, it's... Oh, man. Resentment, that's his name. So that beam right there can basically one-hit kill you, but not only does it one-hit kill you, it does this really annoying thing that it turns you into Child Bayonetta and then just forces you to waddle around for 10 seconds before it finally decides to kill you. It's a one-hit kill move, which is already bad enough, but it also just wastes your time for no reason, so avoiding that is, in every sense of the word, optimal. Yeah. Coming up next, we have a very ironically named enemy here called Sloth. He is the fastest enemy in the game, to my knowledge. We're going to do something that I did not do during the Flame Fatales run, which is a combination of the mech and the feathers, which should take him out pretty quickly. Let's see if we can get it. He always does the same first move, this sort of stab thing here, so if we can dodge that properly, get him with the feathers, and then finish him off with the mech, that'll be the fight. Very nice. So, when I had fought this next fight during Flame Fatales, I had never actually fought against Rodon. He's a very secret fight that you need a lot of halos to even unlock. Very difficult, basically just like an endgame challenge for anyone who really wants it. I mentioned in that run that thankfully we don't have to fight against him without actually knowing his true strength, and now I can say with the utmost certainty, thankfully we do not fight Rodon. We get to fight with Rodon in this particular next section. It's basically a gauntlet against all the enemies that we've seen so far. With the added addition that we get this very strong man next to us, apparently. So it's just going to be a gauntlet. We're going to fight these enemies over and over again. He has this particular attack called the Stomp that we want to see him use in very specific times. Unfortunately, it's really hard to control for that, because that's the Stomp. It's basically just a complete screen wipe. Obviously very fast, so we wanted to use it against enemies with a lot of health. But yeah, like I said, that's just really hard to control for, so it ends up just being a fight against the enemies and cross your fingers sort of situation. This next spawn, I believe, would be an okay place to see Stomp, if he decides to do it. In fact, he's not deciding to do it. He's being a little testy.
One day.
Yeah, one day. He actually did it right there, but it was too early, and the enemies had not actually spawned into the fight yet, so he completely wasted it. Awesome. Love to see it. So now we have a fight against two Pains. We would love to see Stomp here. Right, Rodon? Right, Thank you. Thank you very much.
Finally, some good fortune from RNG.
Yeah,
And so is
that
my target back
that
to
fight can unfortunately kill runs once you get things a little bit more optimized.
Hold up. You're not seriously thinking of getting between a man and his next payday. Chill, Bayonetta. Don't go
Yeah, I see in chat from Archlord Pi. Rodon can just decide to delete the entire room's worth of enemies, and when you fight him as well. Unfortunately, when you fight him, the only enemy in that room is you, so he just likes to delete you with that stomp move, so you need to be extra careful against that.
Also, all of his dashes forward are extremely fast.
Alright, so coming up is chapter 11 it's basically one fight against this character called Alron. She's like a plant demon, basically. I don't really know. She's the keeper of Jean's soul, so we're going to take her out as fast as we can by going into our menu, popping this big purple candy to give us a free use of the mech, and basically just doing that, for the first phase at least. Second phase is a little bit more complicated. We're going to use our residual power boost from our candy to exit the first phase here. The second phase will be spent using our Umbran Climax mech against it, so it doesn't get a chance to attack. And then the third phase is going to be a little bit different. We're actually going to pop our final red candy because we don't actually have enough magic to use the mech immediately again, but hopefully with this final use of the red candy, we can end this fight without taking too much time, because it's yet another fight that just likes to be annoying sometimes, and she's host to a lot of very fast attacks, so we want to avoid that if at all possible.
Darkness is the absent.
Funny about Alarune's design, reminds me of this one like plant-like Pokemon, and just as a Bayonetta character, I can't remember the name of it, but
Oh no, you're gonna do this to me again. If for any of you who didn't see the Flame Fatales run, I very embarrassingly messed up Wooloo and Mareep. And so I was hoping there wasn't gonna be another Pokemon related question, but apparently I'm getting one anyway. A plant-based demon Pokemon? Oh my gosh, is it Carnivine?
I don't think it was demon-based. It just happened to have sort of Alarune proportions, you know, sort of a roundish head, sort of leaf-like arms. I don't know.
I think it's Carnivine. I think it's Carnivine.
I'm gonna have to look this up afterwards because I'm useless with new-gen Pokemon.
All right, so while we do that, this is a very, very, very cool set piece. We're basically riding Diomedes, my favorite my favorite summon in the game, and we're going to be sort of running down this hell corridor on all of these like spine-looking bridges. It's super, super cool. Not too much to say about the fights, honestly, because you basically kill everyone in one hit. That being said, there is a slight optimization that we can do. You'll notice that I have my Umbran Climax, and when Diomedes activates the Umbran Climax, what it basically does is makes you have a long range attack, and it more reliably kills everything in one hit. So what we're going to do is, we'll first avoid that, and then we're going to, whenever we see an enemy, we know where all the enemies spawn. So whenever we see an enemy, we're going to activate our Umbran Climax, take out that first enemy, and then purposefully drain our magic bar. This will let us stay on the Umbran Climax and predict when that final enemy is going to come in that wave, and then just take him out with another slash. So we can get an instance of that right here. We're going to activate it, take out this first guy here, wait for the second guy while our magic meter is going down, and there's the second one. Alright, I'm going to let you just enjoy the awesome scenery and the awesome music for just a little bit. And do we have an update on what Pokemon you were talking about?
It is indeed Carnivine.
Oh my god, thank you.
Yeah. Ray had a link to photo, and it rings all of the bells. Thank you for
I didn't want to embarrass myself on Pokemon for a second time, running this exact game again in a row. Oh, that did a lot of damage.
First too.
Yeah, someone in chat, I believe it was Nimbus, he suggested Serena, which I think is another good guess. Thankfully, I did not confuse Carnivine and Serena this time. That would have been even more embarrassing. They don't even look alike. Alright, so coming up we have our final fight against Baldur. We fight with him later, but we're going to be popping another big purple candy to get us an instance of the mech. Pop a small red candy as well, and hopefully that should be the end of the fight. There is a very unfortunate thing that can happen that I've gotten that has killed my runs. If you beat this fight too fast, by which I mean you have this health bar drained to 0 before this screen transition that you see here, it basically soft locks the game. The boss will be gone because you beat him, right? But the other problem with that is that there's the second screen transition is not over yet, so you're just stuck in the second phase of the fight with no boss to fight. So thankfully I avoided that. That was very heart-wrenching the first time I got it, because I think I was on world record pace at that point, so... You know, that's what learning's about, right?
Yeah. Bayonetta speedrunning and soft locks name a more iconic duo.
Alright, so we're actually going to return to a very familiar place if you're at all a fan of the Bayonetta series. Do you care to explain exactly what's going on and why that nostalgia might be coming up for a little bit?
So... If any of you guys need a small recap on the beginning of Bayonetta 1, we have a witch who wakes up without her memories after 500 years in slumber, and she meets a man named Enzo, consults him about a red gem that happens to be on her person, and it's informed that there happens to be another gem out there that she might want to start looking for. The first place to begin her search happened to be a place called Big Red, which is exactly where we're starting out here. If this place looks familiar, this is basically the Plaza fight from Chapter 1. The identical scene, just slightly different enemies, as you'll see in the second wave.
Yeah, so unlike the beginning of Bayonetta 1, you do not immediately face this boss, but here he is. Thankfully, he is very weak to feathers, but, you know, to his defense, so is most every boss. Luckily, he is already dead, so we just get to sort of stall out some extra stomps that he gets to do, and then finish off with a couple of climax cutscenes.
Looks like we've been asked if we're looking forward to Bayonetta 3. How do you feel about it?
I am looking forward to Bayonetta 3, although I must say that I don't know if I'm looking forward to speedrunning it. I think I need to determine if it's a fun speed game first, because it seems to be a blend of a bunch of other game combat, like Devil May Cry and Astral Chain, specifically, so I'm going to reserve judgment on speedrunning it, just for a little bit.
I think that's a very sound opinion there.
Alright, those lasers that I'm dodging via my jump can absolutely wreck you in one hit. On normal, on easy, they're a little bit lenient, but on normal, they absolutely wreck you in one hit. So we're going to do our best to avoid that. Get another big candy, because this game has no restraint. And just take on a couple more guys. What are the names of these guys again? You said that they have, like, numerical names?
Yeah, so the big guys are usually called applauds. The small guys are usually called affinities, but they all have varying types. So it's affinity and applaud A, B, C, and D based on their weapon types. But this also applies to the horsey boys, your allegiance and your accolades, I believe, in B2. So generic enemies and distinct names, not really a platinum thing.
Yeah. I mean, it's like RPG enemies, right? You get your Frog 1, and then you get your Frog 2. Only so much you can do with that naming convention, I guess. Alright, so coming up, we have a fight against our adversary. We're going to fight 3 times throughout this chapter here. First, we get to beat his hand. Very threatening hand. And it's already gone. Oh, no, it's not gone. Never mind. It was close.
Darkness is the absence of light.
We're going to activate another one of these sort of let you stop time for free statues. Hopefully made it across this crumbling bridge. I almost messed this up on my Flame Fatales run, and I almost did again, so luckily we did not. Here's our second fight against our adversary. We're going to feather him once, then feather him again, and that's the fight.
Only the beloved fight went that fast and beginning of B1. My goodness.
Yeah, beloved has way too much health. It's actually a very difficult fight casually. All right, so coming up here in my Flame Fatales run, I said there was a skip that I'm really bad at that I didn't want to try because I get angry when I mess it up. So I'm going to try it once. And if I don't get it, so be it. It does not look like I got it. That's okay. So instead of attempting it again, because you need full magic, we're just going to do it the slow way, like I did. Not a huge deal. Basically what you want to do is, when you're dashing as mech, you want to jump off that little platform, and you can save a little time. Instead of having to run across the crumbling statues, you can just fly over there, but it's a little bit precise. The platforms are a little bit janky, so I'm not too upset that I missed that. All right, coming up we have our final third fight against our adversary with the jump scare here. He's very threatening casually. Thankfully, we get to just use our Rosa strats to take him out in this particular version. He has actually so much health in this particular fight, that's why it's hard casually. He has so much health that in addition to using the feathers, we also need to use the red candy, so they're really stepping it up, but not enough.
He's a tough cookie in Tag Climax as well, especially on 3 stars.
Oh, I bet,
so
yeah.
tanky.
Does anything really stand a chance against Rosa, though? Let's be honest.
No, not really.
I mean, let's be honest, I don't stand a chance against Bayonetta either, but Rosa even more so. Alright, so here comes Chapter 14, the Witch Hunts. If you're a casual Bayonetta player looking to grind a lot of halos, I can tell you that this is the best chapter to do so in. And a big portion of that, the reason for that, is we're going to be in the mech the entire time. But variety, you might be asking. Umbran Climax is our mech, so what exactly does Umbran Climax as the mech give you? Well, it gives you way too much damage is the answer to that question. It basically gives you super missiles like this that just absolutely melts enemies. It's basically unfair, but we'll take it because we like to be fast. Yeah, I can't reiterate enough how much I like this run because it's just satisfying in the hands to just obliterate enemies so quickly. Like we're going to do here against another Urbane and Gravitas fight. You'll remember from Chapter 5 that we had this duo. We had to fight this duo. Was it Chapter 5? Yeah, Chapter 5. Where we had to fight this duo. And I labeled it as one of the harder fights of the casual run. And that's true, but with this mech thing, we do so much damage that it ends up really not being a huge deal. Alright, so coming up we have a fight against probably the worst boss in Bayonetta 1. Do you care to give a little bit of lore on him?
So admittedly your stream is a bit pixelated on my end, but if I remember correctly, we are getting up to Sapientia, the water boy who is on land, right?
Yes.
Alright. Yeah, Sapientia is a run killer for Bayonetta 1 speedrunners because of his RNG. He likes to hop back and be a real pain. But in general, he's also just not a very dynamic fight. You end up having to do the same loop over and over again, and from what I understand, he's not very satisfying to fight in B2 either.
Funny you mentioned that he's a run killer in Bayonetta 1, because he's exactly the same thing in this game as well. He thankfully did not do that. We got good RNG this time, but he has this move that he can do where he leaps back and starts shooting missiles at you. Not only do those, on normal mode, not only do those missiles do a ton of damage, but they also make it so you can't hit him with your mech, which is your highest damage output. So you sort of just have to wait and very slowly crawl over to him. It's very demoralizing. So luckily we did not get that this time. Alright, so some of the enemy names in this game don't make a ton of sense. This one is basically the only one that makes sense, maybe other than Valor and Valiance. This is Worship. And he's called that because he's literally a warship. He has one health bar, but that's shared between his two sort of face nodes that make that shield, and then the final one, which is the remaining 50% of his health bar. What did I take damage from there? That was very strange.
No idea.
Alright, so both of his face nodes are done, so his true face is now revealed to us. He has a very big, gigantic laser move that we kind of don't really want to see because it just tears through our health bar unnecessarily, by which I mean it one-shots us on normal mode. But we did that fight so fast because we had our Umbran Climax mech thing, so we didn't have to worry about that too much. We have another fight against another Bayonetta 1 boss. They've really thrown the whole kitchen sink at us. What's this guy's name again?
This is Justicia. And he's a lot more colorful in this version. His midsection wasn't quite as iridescent in the original. He was pretty colorful, but not quite this colorful.
Right. He's also like all of the bosses in Bayonetta 1. They're the first time you fight them. They're all very long, drawn-out cinematic fights that take an entire chapter. But in Bayonetta 2, you see them and you take them out in like 30 seconds. They're more for nostalgia more than actually posing a significant challenge to you. All right, moving on to chapter 15. We get this entire chapter is basically a gauntlet of Bayonetta 1 nostalgia. We're going to see all the enemies, including one of my least favorite pairs of enemies. You know them, you love them, Grace and Glory. They're these clawed enemies that like to show up and sort of, like, they come up a lot in Bayonetta 1, if I remember correctly. Like, they're all over the plane level, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it depends on which difficulty level you're playing on, but you do see them a couple of times, even just in normal mode.
They're very fast, as you can see. They're sort of dodging all my attacks, which is unfavorable. Alright, we're just gonna take them out like this. I don't have the patience for that. Alright. That was less than optimal, but whatever. And then, in addition to that, we get these nice little dog enemies here.
Fairness and fearless.
Yes, so that bite attack that they have is really, really bad. I mentioned that even on easy mode, Bayonetta 1, easy mode, Rosa %, they do a ton of damage, even with that difference of being on easy mode versus normal. That difference is amplified exponentially when you play it on normal mode, and that almost becomes like a 1 or 2 hit kill option for them. So obviously not something we want to deal with for super long. We're gonna dodge this guy and take him out with our feathers. Very good. Next we have our fight against Mr. Noodlefingers again. Luckily he is extremely weak to the feathers, so we plop him down and just sort of finish him off. And if the Bayonetta 1 nostalgia is not enough for you, the next set piece of our fight should look very familiar if you've played the beginning of Bayonetta 1. Do you want to explain what's going on here a little bit?
We are in the records of time. This is even emulating it down to the set piece, the music. This is the prologue you are introduced to in the very beginning of the game. Basically explaining just the history of the witch hunts in a very narrative way. 2 witch clans, one of darkness, one of light. 2 witches of each clan had a baby together, and voila, the clans became at war with one another. And so we had the beginning of Bayonetta 1, in which we wake up in amnesia.
Now, we're fighting Lopter again, but he looks a little bit different. Why is that?
Because Lopter is actually a doppelganger of Loki. So they look identical to one another. And at this point, Lopter is, if I remember correctly, trying to regain control over his access to Loki. Loki had escaped in order to not only retain his memories, but also to remove his powers from the access of Lopter, who could ultimately use that to become Aesir all over again, the god of chaos.
Sorry, is that... I don't want to interrupt you.
Yeah, sorry, that was a little lengthy. I apologize.
So yeah, that fight against Lopter did not last very long, and that's just because we did this tried and true strategy of turning on mech and then turning on the red candy. Not too much to talk about there. You saw me do a little bit of a movement trick by getting on top of that little mountain there using the pillar. That's clearly intended because they add a little a reward for you there, another red hotshot, which I'm going to pick up just for safety. It's a little bit slower to get it, but on the normal and hard difficulties, especially in a marathon setting, I think it's going to be worth it. And if you weren't here for it, the explanation to that is a red hotshot is essentially your a way to automatically revive you should you fall to one of the very damaging attacks in this game. All right, so next we have a Bayonetta flight section, and if I say those words in that particular order, that might bring up some very unfortunate memories for you. In Bayonetta 1, when you did this flight section, what happened is if you ever dodged, the entire screen would rotate. Like the entire screen. It was the most motion sickness inducing thing I think I've ever seen in my life. Thankfully, they've figured out their mistake, and no longer is that the case. If you dodged, you simply just turn the ship around, which is... Oh man, it's so much nicer. So if the last chapter was sort of our introduction, our gauntlet of Bayonetta 1 enemies, this is going to be our gauntlet of Bayonetta 2 enemies. So we're going to start with Glamour, we're going to go into Valor, and then we're going to finish off with Insidious, our manta ray friend from earlier. You might notice that instead of just Rosa, we have a guest this time, and this is Baldur. We finally get to team up with him instead of having to fight him. Which is very nice, because he does the most damage output in this game. This charged sword attack is absolutely busted. The downside to it being that it's close range for the most part, and its accuracy is not the best of all time. So we want to use it sparingly whenever possible. It does look cool. It makes you feel extremely cool when you use it. That I cannot deny.
Absolutely.
Something that was brought to my attention that I did not know for the Flame Fatale's run is that if you keep using this charged sword attack to kill these sort of minor enemies, you get more magic for the final instances, or the big versions of the boss fights that we're going to see just coming up here when we fight Valor, excuse me. So we have a full magic bar, and so we're going to make heavy use of it against this fight here. Did not dodge that properly, that's okay. That attack is really hard to see and dodge, so I'm glad I did it. That stab that he does, it's really hard to see, the hurt box for that, rather. Alright, so we've made it through the gauntlet of heaven enemies, now it's time for the hell enemies. Wow, good shot, Variety. Nice aim. No, you know what? I'm just gonna blame Baldur, not me. That's a Baldur skill issue, not me.
Always blame the game.
Always blame the game. That's the speedrunner way.
Mm-hmm. After so many Bayonetta 2 runs, you must be a shmup queen now.
Oh, for sure.
Since we have a spot of auto-scroller here, might I ask, do you have a favorite chapter in this game?
Favorite chapter? I like chapter 4, quite honestly. You might remember that as the first chapter that we fought Baldur. I think it shows off using candies optimally, it shows off using feathers optimally, using the mech properly, and it gives you a really nice, fun, easy fight against Baldur. Like, I think it has all the stops, and it has a fight skip too, so it's a nice little compendium of basically a microcosm of everything that you see in this game. Alright, so here's our big squiddy friend again. Squiddy, he's not a squid. He is a stingray. And we're basically just going to spam the Baldur attacks since he's very close to us and they do more damage. One thing that we want to be careful of is if he ever dashes back and tries to shoot us, thankfully he did not do that to us. He has this attack that he can do where he sort of leaps back and starts shooting things at us. Not ideal. It's just a little bit slow. Alright, so we get a little bit of a fake out here where we get to sort of spam our shoot button in a little bit of panic mode as we risk death, but since we're Rosa and it doesn't do too much, and we do copious amounts of damage, it's not going to be too big of an issue for us.
Nothing can contain me.
Alright, yeah, this might surprise you, but we're actually at the final boss of the game. Against Aesir. Hotmess, can you explain, actually, let me explain exactly what I'm going to be doing first.
Sure.
So I'm going to make sure that I have full magic for this next part of the fight. I'm going to also go into my menu and activate a couple things. First, I'm going to activate my big red candy for damage. I'm going to go into my menu and equip some new items. I'm going to equip this big purple lollipop, and I'm going to activate this yellow lollipop that I bought at the very beginning of the game. That basically makes it so I don't take damage for a certain period of time. I'm just invincible, which can be very helpful since this guy has very long combo strings that I don't like to see. So that was phase 1 that we saw. Unfortunately, we did not get the phase 2 skip. He is going to summon some gigantic planes at us, but not too big of a deal. He just kind of stands still there while we do that, so we'll take it. The biggest problem with him is that he has very, very fast attacks. Thankfully, we dodged all of them. Or we didn't dodge them, we sort of stun-locked him out of it, because one of the differences between Bayonetta and Rosa is that Rosa's revolvers, the guns have a very specific name, to my knowledge. Do you know what they are?
Good question. I actually do not know the name of Rosa's guns.
Yeah, they sort of inflict a little bit more flinch and or stun on enemies than Bayonetta does, so with big fights even, we definitely make use of that to try to avoid enemies from attacking us. And we should be able to armor through the end of this fight here. And that's the final boss for the most part. Time does not end on the final input. We actually have to play the credits. So we're just going to see this awesome cutscene here. And I get to go back and correct some more of my Flame Fatales run misinformation. I was correct in saying that this is not Jubileus. It definitely does look like Jubileus, but I think you can film the audience and more on who this actually is.
So this is on me. This is a fusion of Queen Sheba and Jubileus. You might remember Jubileus from the first game, the god we fought at the very end, and Queen Sheba happened to be the infernal demon that sent her sailing into the sun in the first game. And they merged powers to become even more powerful and send Aesir into the waiting jaws of Gamora.
Yeah, so at the very beginning, the evil influence, or the chaotic influence of Aesir, I guess if we're being correct in the lore, I guess, his influence is the thing that sort of knocked the soul out of Jean. So Jean is getting the final word here, or the final bite, I should say, where she's getting revenge on Aesir for inflicting that much damage on her. And we get to sort of chomp on a literal god here, so if you have any nom emotes in chat, I'd love to see them. And that would normally be the end of the game. That's the end of the technical gameplay section of the game, but because we do have control in the credits, we cannot quite yet say time. We have a little bit more to go. There's really not too much to say. The one thing that we really need to be aware of is that in the final section of this credit sequence, that's the only one that's really timed. The rest of this is basically just auto-scroller, giving you some nostalgic relivings of some fights. The last one is different, however. We want to make sure that we have a full magic bar, because it gives us access to this little move that I'm doing here called Bullet Climax, which basically just locks on enemies and shoots at them. There's going to be enemies that are sort of far away from us on that final section of the credits, and we definitely want to make sure that we can take them out as fast as possible, because we can't hit them with our normal punch-kick combos, right? So if we have full magic bar, we can use Bullet Climax and sort of take them out before they have a chance to land on our ship. So that's really the only optimization here. I guess I can also take this time to say thanks for having me to do this run on a GDQ stage again. I'm super grateful for Lana for asking me to do this. cool to see the differences between sort of the earlier version of the run and the later version of the run, even though it's only been a couple weeks. I hope you've all enjoyed, even if it's perhaps a little bit redundant to some of you. I hope that there was enough differences and other fun stuff to occupy that time. Hot Mess has been a terrific commentator. They've been giving me so much information and giving you a lot of information that I'm just not privy to. So why don't you go ahead and tell the people where they can find you.
You can find me here on Twitch. I'm also on YouTube. I stream Bayonetta 1, mostly style play these days, but I also speedrun another action game called Assault Spy here on Twitch. But otherwise, thanks for just inviting me along tonight. It's been really fun.
Yeah, so we're continuing our little nostalgia trip. This is the Bayonetta 1 fight that we saw in Chapter 13. Back to Vigrid. Luckily, they make enemies paper thin in the credit sequence, so it's not too big of a deal for us. Yeah, it's rather obnoxious that we have to play through the credits. I understand why we have to, because the time does not unfortunately end until we do our last game input, which is the end of the credits. So we do have to kind of sit around for that, but that's okay.
Gives you time to jam to the good music at the end.
Oh, yeah. If you haven't heard this game's soundtrack in isolation, I would absolutely recommend doing that after this run. Keep up that high energy. While we're here...
Series.
Oh, yeah. I also want to sort of shout out the Bayonetta 2 the leaderboard. All my runs are there. A lot of other cool runs, like the Jean runs and the Bayonetta runs, all of them are there. Things that I have not yet showcased on a GDQ stage. So if you're interested in any of those, there's a lot of runs there for you to take a look at. Very similar stories, but very different strats. I think taking a look at the differences on those is really, really cool. All right, we're actually coming up on our final credit sequence here. We're going to do our normal punch-kick-punch combo. Very nostalgic to take out these first enemies here. And then these flying enemies. Ooh, hold on. There we go. These flying enemies over here. We want to just make sure we bullet climax them off the ship. And that is... not quite time. There we go, that's time.
GG. Fantastic work.
Yeah,
Amazing.
I do wish I was actually timing that. That looked like a pretty good run, but I guess I'll go back in the VOD and check it out later. But yeah, my name is A Variety Pack. Like I said at the beginning, I speedrun this game, I speedrun Skyward Sword HD, I speedrun Bioshock Infinite and some of the other Bioshock games, and I'm sort of branching out into a bunch of different things at the moment. So if you like what you saw here, then go ahead and check me out on Twitch. That's where I normally am. I don't really have a Twitter or anything like that, but yeah, thank you, Lana and GDQ and She Is Speed for having me on. It's been a blast.
Awesome. And yes, thanks again to you, Variety, for an incredible run, and to Hot Mess for that awesome commentary. It was such an incredible evening. Everyone, let's give another round of applause for Variety and that incredible Bayonetta 2 run. That was so much fun to watch. All right, well, that wraps up our evening together. We had 2 incredible runs. Resident Evil 2 Claire run with Kitty Roar, and now this lovely Bayonetta 2 run with Variety. Before we head off, just a couple announcements. A reminder that AGDQ 2023 online will be January 8th to the 15th. Host judging volunteer applications are open now. Game submissions and event volunteer applications are also open now. Game submissions are open until September 21st, and volunteer submissions are open until September 24th. Use !AGDQ in Twitch chat or head to gamesdonequick.com for more info. Well, that's the end of our show tonight. We had 2 beautiful Hotfix shows on tonight, but remember to come back tomorrow for Game Masters, followed by Time Capsule starting at 7 p.m. Eastern. We've got great Hotfix stuff here every night, so make sure to pop in. Well, that's it from us for tonight. We'll be heading on a short break, but stick around because we'll be raiding out right after this. Have a good night, everybody!